scent cedar.
Hello, welcome back to the Saladcast E3 special. We're going straight into it. What's happening?
Is that what's going on?
It's Ubisoft.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, my order is wrong then.
Why? What did you have next?
I think I thought Sony was there.
Well, you were wrong. You quite like Caitlin. It's Ubisoft.
It's Ubisoft.
I watched them in the wrong order. Balls.
Balls.
Can't even remember.
Speaking of
balls.
Speaking of balls.
I guess
Well, kind of balls.
it's the sort of thing that they do.
Hey, it's Ubisoft's like doing an Ubisoft conference basically. Did we know Aisha Tyler's back?
That came second.
Did it?
Technically.
Oh,
Well, they rolled straight into the South Park.
the South Park. Is that what it's actually called? The South
Of
Park.
course it's not called that.
It's got an even stupider name than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, South
Of course it
Park.
does. Well, it's not like the first one technically had a ridiculous name. It had a name that was descriptive of the thing.
The Stick of Truth.
Whereas this one, they decided to make it a dumb
A pun.
joke.
Yeah.
This isn't
Frank.
Obsidian, though, is it? Is it?
No, I think
Somebody
Obsidian
else.
I think Obsidian are working on something else at the moment.
But it doesn't matter because they made an engine, presumably.
And in
Yeah.
fairness, Obsidian don't actually didn't have to do much like dialogue writing and stuff like that. The stuff that they're normally good at, because they've got Parker and Stone doing that stuff.
Presumably, yes.
Are they doing it, though? Are they going to have
Yes.
as much involvement as with...
Well, they came on stage, so
They,
Oh, that's
you
cool.
say.
they specifically came on stage to say,
These microphones are dumb!
"Oh yeah, that's
That's mainly what they said.
these face mics are silly." But yeah, they basically got interviewed saying, "Didn't you guys say last time you weren't going to do another video game?" And they were like, "Yeah, about that." We realised we actually did pretty good last time.
We
And now-
realised we like money.
and now we know how to make a video game. We're going to do it again.
So,
So
it's
they're
another
doing
one.
it again. Fractured butthole.
The Fractured
Or fractured butthole
I-
is covered, which means I should probably get round to playing Stick of Truth.
So this one has the Keen in it, as I can see.
The Keen.
The
Yeah,
Keen.
that was the whole thing about their trailer. It was like,
Oh.
oh shit, we're the wrong characters, guys.
Swap.
Okay. So what do you think?
It looks like South Park.
Sweet.
Made me
Okay.
chuckle a few times.
Okay.
That's all you really need.
Well, I still need to play Stick of Truth, but then
Yeah.
and then I'll get that to you.
Yeah, I did think about getting to that like soonish.
Yes, as always.
Yeah,
soonish.
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 Yeah.
And so, secondly, it was Irish.
Yeah. Anyway, well, Aisha Tyler was on stage talking to Trey Parker. And
She sounds a bit blown out and hyper, I thought.
blown out and hyper.
The mic sounded a bit blown out, and she
Oh,
was
I
a bit
see.
crazy. More so than usual.
Actually, I thought she reined it in this year.
Well, no, she said stuff. She didn't say as much stuff that was crazy,
Yeah.
but she sounded a bit like Sugar Rush.
Yeah. It's like it's not like 90 degrees up in this bitch or
Like she
whatever.
drank some energy drinks.
Yeah, maybe. And then came down slowly as the show went on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then with not much of an introduction, they basically said, "Hey, you remember the crew? That was all right,
No,
wasn't
they
it?"
didn't.
Oh, if I missed something.
Yes, you missed For Honor.
Oh yeah, shit, I did miss that.
My note just says chivalry.
Yes, so I thought exactly the same thing. And no, I'm remembering this now quite clearly. Because before they went into that, they made a big deal of being all
Saying
like,
how it was a new genre and it's never been done before. It's
Yeah.
like, no, chivalry.
didn't they even wheel out Yves Guillemot to say this
Yes,
and stuff?
they
It's
did.
like, oh yeah, Ubisoft is now about innovation and stuff like that, so we're going to do something completely new. And it's like, yeah, someone's done this.
Lots of people have done
You've
this.
ripped off another game with a bigger budget.
There's several other games even before chivalry.
Yeah.
By it.
The thing is, I think their form of the actual. I mean, it's a little different in the sense that there's a lot of like non-player characters going on in a
Sure.
a sort of Titanfall-esque style.
Yeah.
In medieval combat setting, we should point out.
With sometimes Vikings and sometimes samurai.
Yeah, any kind of melee combat, I suppose. But then when they actually got into a proper sword fight, it looked like there was more of a sort of fighting game mechanics to it.
It turned into Nidhogg, basically.
A little bit. A bit slower and more methodical. So unlike Chivalry, which is a bit like just melee fest, like charge in there and swing your sword around like TF2's Demo Man. So it seems a little bit more designed, shall we say?
The real question is, when you're using a broadsword, why the fuck would you decide to grab it by the blade and hit them with the hilt end, but also with the blade at the hilt end? It's like, that seemed to be that guy's move, and I was like, that can't be a real thing that you... I mean, broadswords aren't technically the sharpest sword ever.
No.
But still, grabbing it by the wrong end deliberately and then hitting them with the end as the handle on, except still aiming to hit them with the blade. He does it on, like, his shoulder. I'm like, what? Why?
At the point of impact, that can't be good for your hands, right?
No.
I mean,
Because,
surely
like,
using the weight of the hilt.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. And Dan's right. They're double-edged, so it's like there's no good way of holding that.
It just seemed really dumb. I was like, that's a weird special move. What's a samurai going to do? He can't grab a fucking samurai sword with the right hand.
No, stab himself and stab his
Exactly.
person behind
He'll
him.
do the Yoshimitsu
Yeah,
suicide stab
exactly.
maneuver. That was a classic.
That's great.
And then they did a thing that they did all through this conference, which was the nearly as bad as EA's coming up next thing.
Mm.
Was Ubisoft thing was they'd say, and you can play it at here, at E3. And it's like, that's not...
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, admittedly, this isn't going out on TV or anything, so it's not like they're pissing off the entire country, but still,
It felt a
it's
little
being
bit.
transmitted out to the world.
Yeah, it felt a little bit more like they were pitching to the audience.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was really annoying the way they do it because up to this point, there had been several cases where it was like, you can play it now, like that for that thing or whatever.
yeah,
So that kind of, and then they did it like with practically every game that they had.
Yeah.
They were like, you can play it, you can play it if you're here.
I was about to say, if you're showing gameplay, I want to expect. I sort of expect you to have a playable version on the floor. Right?
Yeah.
That's the.
Because otherwise, what the fuck is in your booth?
Yeah.
So yes, that was that. Then the crew expansion. Remember
Yeah,
the crew?
is
No.
Is it an expansion or is it a standalone one of these?
I don't know.
I got the impression that it might be a sort of like standalone
I don't
title
know.
built on the crew.
I put expansion, but I don't know.
Okay, sure.
But who does that
well,
count?
it looks like basically they said people didn't like the crew very much, but Forza Horizon did all right. Let's make Crew Horizon sort of.
The crew already was trying to be that, sort of. Because it wasn't like it was...
Didn't really have a festival though.
No, but it still had the same, like, all-terrain, randomly drive off the road type stuff, didn't
Yeah, I
it?
guess. Does this mean they've just added events in the middle of nowhere? They've added a few tents and a few courses to drive around.
Possibly. So no one cares about the crew?
No one cares. No, yeah, the crowd were noticeably, again, one of these noticeably no reaction trailers, really.
Okay.
So then we've got some more gameplay footage of The Division, as is now the yearly
No,
tradition.
how do you keep missing things?
I don't know. What have I missed?
Next came a thing that almost looked like it was going to be Robot Unicorn Attack, but it turned out to be a Trials
Oh,
expansion.
shit, why have I not got that? Probably because it was dumb and I didn't care.
Oh, yes.
We should
Also, you
skip
don't really
over it
care
then.
about...
Yeah.
Probably don't care about Trials Fusion either, but...
Yeah, it's basically Trials Fusion, but instead of being a motorbike, you're a unicorn that shoots fire with a cat riding on it. With a
It's
laser
Robot
gun.
Unicorn.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
It's very basically. I thought it was serious. I was like, oh, this is a new Robot Unicorn Attack game.
But is Trials Awesome Power Max or something,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
got a dumb name, naturally. Why wouldn't you?
Because 80s.
Then someone mentioned the feels and their body being possibly ready, not in a Nintendo way.
Oh, they were basically saying, look, if you don't look at this and have some sort of reaction, like, who are you? You're fucking dead, or something.
Yes. That was the traditional, here's the dumb comments for the day.
Admittedly, it's kind of funny, but then when I realised it was a Trials Fusion expansion, it's like, oh,
Yes. This is not something to get feels about.
yeah.
Feels. Okay, The Division.
Yeah, then that happened.
Yes, then that happened.
They showed some more co-op gameplay.
They continued to have the fakest in-game chat you've ever heard.
Yeah. This was they showed off this was the demo where they showed off the Dark Zone, right?
Yes.
The new concept of where players can turn against members of the Division can weirdly turn against each
The
other.
new concept where everyone will 100% of the time turn against each other.
Yeah.
Because that's how internet works.
Yeah. It depends if like, it's worse in the demo they gave, because obviously you knew the people. It's like, are you leaving the group? How would you know you were leaving the group? You would just leave, right? Like,
yeah, you wouldn't know in advance.
Yeah.
It'd just be like, oh, he's disconnected. Oh wait, no, actually he hasn't disconnected. He's just become evil.
He's just left our party so he can shoot us. I'm not 100% sure how they're going to explain the Dark Zones narratively.
Well, they just say like it's contaminated, so whatever happened to the world happened more in the Dark Zone.
Nobody's watching in there or something. Or...
Well, I don't know about nobody's watching. It's just like, I guess maybe it's like some kind of EMP contamination. So it's like no surveillance in the zone. Because when they enter the zone, it's like you have to reboot your thing because you've entered the Dark Zone, whatever that means.
Yeah, weird. Well, maybe there's no intelligence in there or something, so they have to turn their computers into like
hardened mode or something.
Yeah, off. Yeah, it's weird. Narratively, it doesn't make a great deal of sense.
Well, not yet. We don't really know what the narrative of that whole game is, really.
Yeah. Well, the whole point is there kind of isn't one, is there? Like, it's like,
as far as we know,
it's like some sort of virus has killed everyone off. Society went to hell as a result, and then
the billboards are still on.
Well, yeah,
that was my thing. I was like, they look over Times Square, and it's like, look at all those illuminated billboards. That's weird.
Yeah, why
are they all functional?
Whoever is in the buildings think they look cool still. We've still got power. I can turn these on.
There was another Wilhelm screen in that.
There was, yes.
Because they had to have it as well.
Yep.
For some reason.
Double Wilhelm.
And then betas early next year, and then it comes out in March.
Yep, they finally committed to a release date.
Well, as much committal as saying something's going to be in March, and there's a beta before that.
Yeah, I guess. But still, they said something. It's not like this ethereal thing that keeps coming around as a bad joke every year. Hey guys, you going to show any Division? You got any Division? How about some more Division?
They still didn't really show that much of it, I guess.
No. But I think that's what we've seen. It's pretty much going to be the entire game.
Yeah, I guess. With less retarded voice chat in real life, thankfully.
Mm. I'm just going to let you tell me what's next in case I've missed something else.
Well, you may have missed Anno in space.
Unfortunately, I did write that one down. I'm not 100% sure why.
Not much to say, man. I mean, it's another one of those games.
Do we know anything about the Anno games? Because I know nothing other than they seem to be like some kind of builder sim.
Yeah, it's just a sort of semi-city builder management game. I played one of them a bit once.
By Blue Byte.
Yeah. That was what annoyed me about it. Because it was like, and coming up from Blue Byte, and then I'd forgotten that they made these games. I was like, oh shit, is it New Settlers? Is it Settlers in Space? Because they started showing space, and I was like, fuck yeah. But no, it's just Anno again.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Settlers in Space. That is a good concept.
Would be quite an unexpected move.
Maybe.
Settlers in Space. Especially if you get to make your own Lost in Space robots.
Yes, exactly.
Something akin to that.
And then we had a small break from something really, really dumb.
Oh, God. Well, I thought we were past this.
Ubisoft doesn't know what the fuck they're doing.
Ubisoft are very French. Hey, guys. How much do you like Jason Derulo?
Enough to be paid to be here. That was so great.
Well, okay. Let me rephrase that. How much do you want to see Jason Derulo that will put up with him on clearly having an off day?
I don't know. It was just like, it's like they just hadn't given him a script. Like they hadn't told him that they were going to do that, and he was.
What, he was just in the crowd. It's like, oh, by the way, do you mind singing for us? do you mind singing whatever that song is that you do?
Oh, you missed a bit again. That's why we're talking about two different things. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Jason Derulo.
No, the bit before that, where she goes to the cosplayer in the crowd, and he's like, "I was paid to be."
Yeah, I didn't note that, but yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Oh man, that was terrible.
Yeah, wasn't he? Yeah, that was skipping ahead as well.
No, that was.
No, I mean, but he was dressed like a guy from Assassin's Creed. Yeah,
which also didn't make any sense because it's like, how would you have known that?
Yeah,
technically, apart from you.
You might have known if you knew their names.
But yeah, that cosplay guy was clearly not on any kind of script. Because he was like, and who are you? And she was waiting for him to say the character, and it was like, no, this is my name. He just told her his name.
Who are you? Tim.
Yeah. It was like,
she was like, yeah, that happened.
And she was like, let's make a meme right now. And it's like,
And he just came up with Picard.
Yes.
Like, it's like, no.
And,
no.
and it was like, forced memes, good times.
I mean, it's not a meme about me. He just thought of a meme.
He should have said Millhouse, then it would have made sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, then Dance the dude.
Jason
An actual guy
Jason Derulo.
for Just Dance.
God, Just Dance. How is that still a thing? The thing is every year they seem to make it worse, right? Well, apart from they moved to proper camera tech
Right,
not that long ago, and this year they're all like, "Hey, by the way, you don't need a camera anymore because the controller is your phone," which they've done before with that online thing.
I mean, isn't this the same thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Have they actually released that?
Basically, they're just solidifying the fact that we don't give a fuck about Just Dance, man. It's not a proper game. Like, control it however the fuck you want. Because all you have to do is just learn one arm's worth of dancing, right?
Yes. And then there was just a little bit of hot mic action at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Where the woman who was about to come on crazily giggled.
And was basically thanking Jason Derulo, I think. Like, well, thank you for doing that.
That was a crazy giggle, that was.
Jason Derulo!
All that for Just Dance.
Well,
that was another thing.
Jason Derulo's no Usher.
Well, no. That was another thing that obviously went on for far too long.
Yeah.
Because who gives a shit about Just Dance?
That's the wrong crowd for that.
Like this podcast, if we keep talking about this shit and not the games.
Jason Derulo. Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes,
have I got that right?
That is correct.
Have I got that right? All right, okay, good.
I don't remember this bit, but my notes just have a quote which just says, "You love this game. Good." I seem to remember that as being something that someone said.
Well, what they did is they showed a bit of the supposed setup, didn't they? And said, "Oh, here's this actress." Who
that was
Angela
right.
Bassett.
They were unnecessarily decided to interview an actor about her role in a video game where she's not actually one of the characters of the game. She's just like an overseer.
Yeah,
it's like more good use of time here.
She's doing a lot of stuff, apparently.
Yeah.
Couldn't really tell you what. Didn't recognise her myself, but yeah. But the thing is, I found it a little weird because it looked like they were going in the direction of saying, "Hey guys, there's actually a single player to this."
Well, yes, that is exactly what I wrote.
But then they kind of didn't, and then sort of went, "Oh, actually, there's this other mode, which is basically like PVE, co-op PVE mode." Like,
I mean, I think the idea was that you could play that in single player with
bots,
teammates on your team. I guess.
Yeah, they didn't make it 100% clear. So yeah, it begs the question: so why is Angela in this game? If it's still a multiplayer game, like what they just
she's
made
in there for the single. She's mission intros.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they just made really
StarCraft loading screens,
or is she just the voiceover, or
she has a model.
Yeah,
a model sitting in a black infinite void.
Yep,
as you do.
So Siege still looks all right.
And then they continued their theme of, "We have something for you at home in September." It's like, this time it was for you at home, but in September.
Yep. Hold on to your hats.
And then Jeff Gersman got excited.
And were you watching the Giant Bomb feed?
No, I'm just saying that as a joke. Jeff Gersman got excited because it's fucking Trackmania.
Oh shit, yeah. Which, I mean, I got excited for a brief moment, and then they showed footage of it, and immediately I said to myself, sat here alone, like, this looks like Trackmania.
Yeah.
Like, nothing has changed other than they've given it a nice visual overhaul.
Well, and they've given it a functional UI because it's coming out on consoles.
Yeah.
They can't just rely on people to mod it for this one.
True. It's like, I got no problem with Trackmania, definitely not, but it's like, a visual overhaul doesn't sound like it's enough.
But your most important feature ever for F-Zero is in here: auto-generated tracks.
Yeah, but the demo which they then, to their credit, they tried demoing live.
Yeah.
That wasn't very interesting.
No, they didn't exactly get a good one out of that random generation.
No. And, the Trackmania community, I'm not 100% sure why they bothered with that, because the Trackmania community has already shown that they can create some unbelievably ridiculous stuff.
Well, assuming it functions the same way in the console version, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Whatever, upload system they have for that. Little Big Planet style or something.
Yeah, you would hope. You would hope. Trackmania, still about.
Yep.
And finally, not finally, but I mean finally as a time.
Yes, I was about to say, you've missed something again if you're
Yeah.
thinking this is final.
Assassin's Creed?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
But not finally.
No, not.
Finally, as in, oh god, they took long enough getting here.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, we waded through all that to get to this. And they said, here's the weird thing about this presentation. They said they had a gameplay demo
Yeah,
at E3,
yeah.
but decided not to show it, and instead
yeah.
showed a trailer,
Yes.
which I found slightly bizarre. Like, show us the gameplay. Isn't that why everyone's here? We know the game's a thing. We know it's set in London. We know everyone's going to be mildly Cockney.
Mildly.
Or extremely Cockney in some cases.
Yep.
I hope so. They weren't French enough in the last one. I hope they're freaking Cockney enough in this one.
I'll give them credit here. The Cockney seemed to be ratcheted to an appropriate level.
God blimey, governor. There's money on the ground.
Pants.
That'll be interesting. They managed to pull that off.
Oh man, it's squid.
Also, for some reason, I mean, this wasn't. Obviously, it wasn't gameplay. It was still just part of the trailer. But he has a grappling hook now. It's like Just Cause. He goes pachoo and then zoop.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's weird. I mean, who's inventing that? It's not Leonardo da Vinci.
I mean, it reminds me a little bit of, and obviously guns are back and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was, again, this is my problem with the direction Assassin's Creed. As they get more modern and modern in their timescales for those games, I think the worse they become. Because guns.
Well, there shouldn't be that many guns in England.
Pistols.
Yeah, it's still dueling age, but not that many. You're not going to have, like, rifles, probably.
They didn't really have... In the games I've played so far, they haven't had pistols, really, thus far, I don't think. It's all been rifles or... apart if you discount the gun mounted to, like, Ezio's arm at one point. But, yeah.
It's not like they're going to be breaking those guns out that much in England.
No, I just think they've always been kind of the crappiest thing about the Assassin's Creed games since they've been in them.
Although, arguably, if they're not going to break out the guns, it's not like anyone's going to be using swords, either. That's not going to fit the theme either.
Well, although they did have the cool cane sword.
I guess.
That's pretty cool. What did it say in the description that popped up on screen? Like the ultimate Victorian weapon or something?
Yeah. It's a walking stick.
Yeah.
Nice. That's stupid.
It's great.
And you can play as a woman.
Yep.
Or maybe you have to play as a woman. It seems like it's going to be another Dishonored character swapping.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the gist here. I think they're going to go through. You're going to be playing as both characters at certain points in the story because both characters seem to have different roles in the group. So it doesn't make sense for you to be one of them. Could be all right. They did make a bit of a point during this of like reminding everyone that they are listening to feedback and stuff like that, presumably acknowledging that they, like, without outright saying it, acknowledging the fact that they realized people didn't like Unity.
Right.
But yeah,
it's kind of a shame for them because they spend a fortune on that shit.
Well, and hopefully this is Syndicate is the make good on that tech.
That's
we've finished it effectively, and then take a year off or something, guys. Like,
pretty much.
Syndicate might be great, but I've lost my ability to care.
Well, you're like 2 games behind now, so
the fatigue is there's apparently there's 2. Well, yeah, because there isn't that Rogue coming out this year as well. Like, effectively, Assassin's Creed 4 2. There's 2 Assassin's Creed games this year. Again, it's too much.
Yeah, too much.
What was Rogue last year? Rogue might have been last year, actually. Can't remember. We don't care.
No.
My description here says they have a gameplay demo but didn't want to show it on stage. Must be rough. Like, as in the gameplay demo must be rough, not that they felt quite rough about it.
Must be drunk.
Must be drunk. Yeah. They haven't got anybody to play test this shit. And then the final?
Yes, and then actually finally.
Yeah.
And then actually, finally, more Tom Clancy, apparently.
Yep.
They can't get enough.
They really can't.
Like 3 of those games going out this year.
I wonder if that's a record. Like 3 games in one show, all classified.
Maybe.
Classified.
This is classified information.
This is
the fact that Ghost Recon is coming.
Every single bit of this information is fully classified.
It's all about Coke, apparently.
It's Tom.
According to that demo, anyway.
It's Tom's secret.
Okay.
Oh dear, that's shocking. That's not even close.
I couldn't beat classified. Classified's great, but
Tom's secret.
Tom's secret. Yeah, Ghost Recon's back in a sort of open worldy design again, and then and did the classic zoom out, and there's other players with you. Whoa!
Well, it's not exactly the same. It's not like an open world that's going to be an actual open world. It's going to be like
looks like it'll be segregated. Yeah. Well, who knows? Like with the way they did that zoom, does that mean they're trying to go like the whole?
No, it zooms out and it shows you like all the drug lords or whatever that are going to be going on.
Oh, they were showing that, not players.
No.
Well, that's the confusing thing because it's the same zoom they've done for like the Crew and other games where and that Need for Speed Rivals did when they did that thing. Like they zoom out and it's like, oh, you're not alone. These are players. And it's like, oh no, wait, that's the drug lords. Oh, okay.
I don't think they used like real pictures on the little pictures. It was like character models. That's how you could tell.
Okay, sure.
So this is like Clear and Present Danger, the game or something.
It's all about drugs.
Yeah, kind of. But global. They're not limiting it to like.
Well, maybe.
It looked like they jumped around a bit during a map sequence, so they only really showed one area.
Yeah,
it's actually looks cool. I liked Ghost Recon. At least I liked the Grawl ones. Grawl 1, I think, was my favourite.
I mean, I did play quite a bit of the original Ghost Recon that came out on Xbox.
Yeah,
because as a co-op game.
It was hilarious and impossible.
Yeah, it's hilarious, impossible, and absolutely fantastic. And yeah, the stuff we did on Graw was also... there wasn't enough of it in Graw, which was a shame, because yeah, it was rock solid hard, but man, was it satisfying to get right.
Yeah.
So this could be great.
I'm quite excited for this, actually. This looks pretty cool.
As long as you play it with people you know. It's the classic thing. If we were to all play it, I'm sure it would be fantastic.
The classic problem of there's only 3 of us.
Well,
God damn you, 4 players!
Yeah.
It's like I kept thinking quite recently. I was thinking about Left 4 Dead, and I was like, I'm never going to play that again because we don't have 4 people.
Yeah, it's annoying.
At least, like with Ghost Recon, potentially they could do the thing where you could control the squad like you could in Graw in single player, or maybe
potentially in Ghost Recon they could scale it quite easily.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, we did okay with 3 in Graw, right?
Yeah, I think that worked with 3, didn't it?
Yes.
We should try that again.
But would have that one have been scaling? I wouldn't have thought so.
No, that definitely didn't scale. That was the same difficulty no matter how many players you had. We should try that again, see if we can do it. When backwards compatibility kicks.
And that was Ubisoft.
Yeah, which was mildly disappointing in the sense that where's the Ubisoft small games?
You wanted your stupid Ubi art.
Yeah, I wanted my Ubi art section.
You wanted Rayman to turn up somehow.
Well, not even just that, just anything. Like anything different. Because Ubisoft have had a pretty good run with their smaller games. The only smaller game they had on show, effectively, wasn't even on show, and was the trailer for that Trials Fusion thing.
Yep.
Like, I just found it a little surprising, a little disappointing. After a great year with Child of Light and Valiant Hearts and me catching up with Rayman, it's like, I want to... And Grow Home, you know?
Yeah, yes.
What your smaller things are firing on all cylinders.
Theoretically, this year they actually have the big games coming out.
Maybe, yeah.
So they want to actually show those.
Maybe they've got more to say about those, and so did. Yeah, I don't know. I hope Ubisoft has stuff in the pipeline on the smaller scale because, as I say, they seem pretty good at that stuff. That's what I want to see.
Okay.
Do you want to do the hilarity of Sony?
Well, that's next.
Sony time.
Got quite a lot of notes on this one, apparently.
Well, my first note for Sony just says, applause, bitches. He was quite demanding about, like, getting the crowd to applaud. He was like, yeah.
Applaud me. Well, no, I've got, actually, my first note is usual stage design, and then I heard what was playing on the music, which was basically going, here we fucking go a lot. It's like, oh, this is how you start a conference, is it? And, what's happened to Jack Tretton, by the way? Because he wasn't there at all.
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't pay attention to the executives.
I was about to say, is he not involved anymore or something? Because they did that thing last year where he sort of handed over to, was it Sean something?
Yeah.
He didn't seem. He doesn't seem quite as charismatic or as cool.
No.
So yeah, and then he goes on to say like one of his opening lines was basically, "Oh, we've seen so much from PS4 this year," and my notes actually just say, "We have seen so much nothing."
It's true.
Yeah, and then the first big bomb drop, like, holy crap, The Last Guardian is real. It's still a thing.
Well, The Last Guardian is maybe still real. They still barely showed anything of it, really.
Mm.
Like, he runs and jumps and shouts at the goddamn bird dog thing a lot.
Well, it was actually a gameplay demo this time.
Yeah, just about.
But here's the weird thing, right? Like, the game looked identical to what they first showed. Like visually.
Yeah.
That original PS3, sort of supposed PS3 tech demo or something, is how the game still looks, which is a bit weird in some ways, right? What have they been doing? Like, what have they been doing?
Making levels, hopefully.
Yeah, maybe. But it's been, how long has it been? Like 5-6 years? Some crazy amount of time.
Yeah. I still think the feathers look weird.
They look a bit too big and
they jiggle too much. They like, and it's like, that's not how feathers work.
No. And again, he's not a proper bird.
Yeah, well, what the fuck is it?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a weird bird dog. It's not a griffin.
I mean, my notes then go on to say, I'm quite impressed with the quality of animation, but the gameplay looks a bit dull.
It's just like, shout at it until it goes where you want it to, and then maybe it does.
And then it doesn't like that symbol for some reason.
There's a thing that it dislikes, so shove it.
So get rid of the thing.
And then, oops, you made the entire world collapse.
Yeah, and then do some dramatic jumping.
Dramatic slow motion. Oh.
Yeah, but they did at least drop a release date.
Well,
sort of.
Yeah.
Anytime in 2016. So, after being incognito since its first reveal.
Well, sort of, yes.
They're suddenly going, yeah, it's coming out. After so long. Nobody was really expecting this.
And no one's actually going to like it. It's going to be average.
That is the terrible, terrible thing of this story, isn't it? It's going to be the Duke Nukem Forever for Sony.
Well, maybe not that bad.
Yeah, I expect good things from Team Ico, or Ico, however you want to say it. But
it won't live up to their previous work. That's probably the most likely thing.
Yeah, too much hype. I wonder if it's a running joke on game trailers that Kyle Bosman always bets that they will see this the Last Guardian.
So you think he made a lot of money this time?
Yeah, maybe he won for once. Yeah. Guerrilla Games, was that next?
Well, I made a note here that the Sony cameraman still sucks.
Oh yeah,
there was the old zoom and focus going on.
Yeah, he wobbled a bit. At least they haven't got their at least they haven't got that producer that likes showing crowd shots.
That's true. They refrained from just showing the crowd too much this time.
I
don't think they had a crane.
No, I have a bit of a problem with Sony's set design actually. Like in that it's the same one they've been using for a while, but the actual main screen is quite small.
Yeah.
Right? So for the people in the auditorium, they're actually watching the important bits on a relatively small screen while they've got that giant wraparound.
Yeah,
it's like it's kind of poopy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. They have done that for a while, haven't they?
It's like 3 or 4 years now. They've had that design, and it's like the wrap is. I don't mind the concept of the wraparound, but your main screen needs to be bigger, guys. Yeah. So they jumped onto a new series by Guerrilla Games, who I think are the Killzone people. Off the top of my head,
maybe, yeah.
I didn't look into it, so And it looks like they're making some kind of Native American future Tomb Raider.
I put Robot Monster Hunter.
Yeah, that too. It looks like many things. Yeah, I put Monster Witchazords as my next line.
Okay.
Didn't look bad. Gotta admit, quite technically impressive.
I was annoyed by her self-narration.
Yeah, that did get a little irritating.
What?
Got it!
Why would you constantly narrate what you were doing to yourself? It's not something that people do.
That's a Nathan Drake thing.
Yeah, but he's like muttering it to himself in a kind of
sarcastic way.
Shit kind of way. Whereas she was just literally like narrating what she was doing. Also while she was trying to be stealth as well. It's like, oh shit, that thing's about to see me. I better stealthily kill it quick.
Yeah. Presumably that's like the tutorial area or like the first thing you do, maybe.
Maybe.
Although that looked like quite a big fight for the first thing you do.
Yeah. And, you're hunting giant robots for some reason.
Yeah.
Not to eat, presumably.
It looked like that some of the smaller ones were carrying canisters of nutrients that they had grazed.
Yeah.
And that the humans did something with that. Yeah, it looks interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I've got a note here saying when they did the close-up that the hair looks pretty good.
Good old hair effect.
Yep. And it's called Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's a fairly generic name.
Generic name, yeah.
Post-apocalyptic Doom name. Doom names. Yeah, there's one to watch. I mean, it's nice to see Guerrilla go in a different direction and not make another Killzone if it was them. I'm pretty sure it was them.
Unless this is like a sequel to Killzone that takes place in the far future, and it's like, oh shit, you're gonna find Hellcast or whatever.
Oh
that
man,
was Killzone, wasn't it?
That would be such a fake out. I doubt it though.
Or it will just be like it won't actually be, but they'll just have like the ruined buildings just sort of slightly look like that aesthetic, so it's like a semi-hint, but it won't actually have anything to do with it.
No, maybe it's just like they might drop hints that theoretically this may have happened or something. In the same way that actually, apparently in Uncharted 3, they had hints in certain parts of the game about the plot of The Last of Us.
Right.
Like there's a newspaper clipping somewhere about a fungus spreading and stuff like that. And, silly. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not uncommon for developers to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have some hint. Am I right in thinking Hitman was next?
Yep. And that's what it's called.
Do you want to Hitman? Yeah, just Hitman.
Oh, that's helpful.
Do you want to say anything about it? Nope. All right.
Right. Apparently not.
I mean, it looks like a Hitman game.
Yep.
I don't care.
I haven't really been following the story of Hitman, but now he's back in an organisation again after he was meant to be going rogue and all this shit. And so I don't really know what the fuck's going on.
I really don't care. Hitman has never appealed to me. I kind of appreciate what they are trying to go for, and a lot of people out there do appreciate what the Hitman games go for. That freedom of expression. Well, they made a big deal of like wording it as the freedom of expression in terms of assassination.
In murdering people.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Get creative in the world of assassination, they kept calling it.
Yeah. Was it this one or was it the demo later on where they were talking about how like they can have it create new targets and like you only get one shot to take this guy down or he's gone forever and you have to collaborate with the community to find him or whatever.
The world is not 100% fixed or something. Yeah. The scenarios are somewhat generated or which means does this game have a narrative? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't.
Well, maybe it has a narrative and then like those are just like we use the level for special daily challenges or whatever.
Yeah. It sounded like they were going for the user challenge thing as well, which they may have mentioned later in Squeenix rather than in the Sony thing.
It's like, what even user challenge is that? It's like a time trial. Beat my time!
Or they set up really awkward patterns of people or something. Or people patterns.
Yep.
Hitman. Don't care. It looked alright. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but it's just not for me.
No.
Not for me. What's next?
Street Fighter 5.
Wow.
Surprise! We already knew about this plenty. And I guess was it in this bit where they were officially showing the London Cammy what's his face stuff? Or was that already happened?
No, I think this is where they showed that. Yeah. They hadn't shown Cammy in Street Fighter V yet, and sort of introduced her as if she was a brand new character, which I thought was a bit weird. But it was the other guy. They
yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't know shit about Street Fighter.
I don't know if he's new or not, but
apparently he's not. He's an old character brought in from one of the other games.
Oh, okay. So he's maybe new to the modern
new
series.
To the modern.
Yeah. Okie dokie. It looks a lot like Street Fighter.
Yep, there's not much to say about
that. A lot of people have a real problem with sort of like the... I read this really interesting... I say a lot of people. This is kind of a in-depth analysis. I read an article about how a animator has a serious problem with what the direction that Street Fighter has gone in.
Right.
Like to go from the super expressive sprites that were in Street Fighter 3 to the comparatively actually quite dumbed down versions that made it into the 3D models. Like, you know, how Chun-Li throws a fireball, for instance, is quite less... Just when you put the two side by side, the new version looks somewhat stiff compared to the very expressive versions that the sprites used to be, and how that's a shame because it doesn't quite have the same impact upon the players or the same sort of drama. I mean, in some ways, Street Fighter is a very dumb and expressive game. Like when people die and you get those close-ups on the ultras at the right time, you get a close-up of their stupid dumb faces. Yeah. But I suppose a still of their stupid dumb face isn't exactly animation, I guess.
No. And then
stupid dumb faces.
Here comes everyone's favourite thing again to show not really much any more than they already have again. It's fucking No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
It's back.
Sony loves this.
That guy seems kind of bored of doing these demos. Yeah. He's like, here's this goddamn game again. I'm showing you pretty much the same thing I've been showing the last 2 or 3 times.
The thing is, yeah, he did at least do a sort of this is the live demo he did, right? Where he was just like, we're going to go to a random place and see what it looks like. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they've really expanded. We're not really learning anything.
No,
still.
That's the problem. He did this live demo, and it was like, here's absolutely nothing new.
Yeah, we kind of knew all this was going to be in the game. I suppose the markers of where points of interest are and the scan.
Well, and the upload station, I guess.
Yeah, so that indicate that maybe that is part of the goal of the game is just to document the universe.
Yeah.
But then the goal is to get to the center, right? However, that's possible.
I'm not sure they really mean that because it's like they say the goal is to get to the center, but I'm not sure that's. I mean, maybe there will be something there, but then they always go on to talk about their universe and how it's like it's so big, no one's ever actually going to get to the center.
I mean, we've seen so much, but explained so little about that game so far that it is my hype factor has decreased to practically nothing.
Yep.
It's like it'll probably be cool, but unless you show me something concrete, I'm not 100% sure I care anymore.
Someone on a stream I was watching later said there was a Steam page for it, and there totally isn't. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I thought I had an opportunity to add that to my wish list.
Yeah.
Or to just look at it and see what the actual Steam PC version says.
Yeah. They haven't, I don't think they've officially said the release date either yet.
No, that was another thing that wasn't in this presentation.
Material. I mean, they did go into slightly more detail because they interviewed the guy more fully in the PC thing. Basically saying, how do you test this? How can you possibly test something this big?
They already talked about that before, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Where they
have their GIF recorder.
Yeah, the GIF recorder and the fact that they send out AI bots to come back and do benchmarking tests on various planets and events that they find. So they're running on actual PCs and stuff. And when they find something interesting, they start a benchmark and report the results and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's kind of a neat idea. And these things have been running all the time. Maybe they're not happy. Maybe these things are returning problems, and that's what's taking so long.
Maybe.
And they're going to have to fix a few million planets or something. I don't know.
It's all procedural. There's not much you can. Surely it should be one fix.
They can just replace those things, I guess. But yeah. So Media Molecule turned up.
Yes, they did.
With as sort of predicted by us.
The combination of their other thing.
Yeah, what eventually became of the puppeteering thing. I don't 100% know what this is, because it was called Dreams.
Yeah,
it seems to be the sculpting thing that we'd seen in old PS4 and Move demos.
Yeah,
except you don't use the Move controller anymore. They're just doing it entirely with the controller and the light bar. It seems.
Well, you probably could use a Move controller.
Probably could use a Move controller. Yeah. And then they were like, well, you can create this stuff, you can convert it, you can sculpt to these scenes, you can do stuff with it, and then you can puppeteer them into life somehow and act out the scene. But then they sort of potentially hinted that you could make games using this stuff, but then didn't really make any of that clear. I don't know what it is. Is it just for making short films and stuff, or is it a game making tool, or I don't know. I mean, and they even specifically said, "Oh, you need to go away and think." It takes a while for this to sink in, just exactly what it is. And it's no, actually, I think you didn't show me enough. I don't know what this is.
And that's a really dumb thing to say anyway, because it never is as complicated as you think it is.
No.
Game developers are always like, "This has never been done before. It's a brand new genre," and it's like, no, it's chivalry.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it looks kind of cool, visually. It's got a style, a sort of plasticine-y style.
Yeah, but that could have been what they were doing. That could have been how they made it.
Maybe.
You don't know, is it a filter you turn on?
Yeah, maybe. But then again,
turn on the Kirby filter.
But then again, if it's anything like Little Big Planet, despite everything that you can make in it, that game always has a feel, it has a style.
Yeah.
So I would expect them to go down that route again. No bloody idea, really.
No.
Probably won't care.
No.
This is unfortunately my theme for most of the Sony conference is probably won't care.
Now we have to ask the most important question.
What's that?
What is Firewatch? Sorry, that's a giant bomb thing.
Well, Dan's watching this, isn't he? You're keen on
Dan's
Firewatch.
Interested in Firewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, totally. It looks like
I don't think it's as complicated as much as the giant bomb thing was. What is Firewatch? And oh man, the interview segment they did with the guys making Firewatch was a fucking ridiculous train wreck. So if you want to get a giant, well, basically, Jeff starts the interview by asking what is Firewatch, and then the Firewatch guy says, "I really want to tell you," and then they just keep talking over each other and cutting each other off, and he never actually just tells him about the game. It's they go the entire segment, and occasionally someone will go, "But what is Firewatch?" And then they'll just keep not actually say. He never gets to say his thing, and it's a ridiculous disaster.
Well, so he's about to say it at all times, and he never actually says his description of what it is.
Yeah, but he seems sort of reluctant to say it, which is why I think people kept cutting over him all the time. But he's not. He clearly does actually want to say it. It's just he keeps phrasing it in a way that makes it seem like he's reluctant to. So people keep thinking that they need to fill in for themselves.
Right.
So it's just a mess.
It's basically just going to be. I think it's going to be a
first-person adventure game,
but with actually not many puzzles. There's more. I think it's everything they've shown thus far has been experience focused. It's a narrative-driven game.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be very long. I don't expect it to be a game in the traditional sense. I don't expect there to be difficulty. If you see,
right, have some game aspects. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll have some similarity to maybe it'll be like the Long Dark, but with story, because that's definitely a game.
Possibly.
I don't know though, because it's definitely an investigation. But I reckon you probably have survival aspects. I'm sure. It's you're alone in the wilderness or whatever. Yeah. And the Long Dark does that quite nicely. You did die quite quickly in that.
So you'll probably die less quickly in Firewatch.
Yeah, probably in Firewatch, yeah. And
I hope there's a lot of narrative in this, because what they're showing seems pretty great.
I reckon there will be, because the whole first trailer from ages ago was heavily focused on narrative. To the point where you really wanted to see more, or straight away.
To the point where they had to translate it into Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we tried to search for it, yeah.
I don't think there's much point talking about Firewatch until we get to play it, though. I don't know.
No, other than the point that they have managed to turn me around. When I first saw it, I thought, I'm not sure I get this, but in all as the trailers go on, I'm getting more and more intrigued.
Right.
Like there's something about the way that they're twisting the narrative around each time, and there's something about the way the suspense is built and stuff like that. I'm in, I think.
But is it going to be a horror game in the end? That's the question.
Yeah.
Is it going to be supernatural monsters?
I kind of hope not.
Yeah.
By the way, if you go on the official website, it has a pretty cool parallax effect. from a like a web design standpoint, that's quite nice.
Tasty.
Fancy parallax. And then it was time for a Destiny expansion that everyone sort of already knew was happening, sort of.
Yeah, must have done, right? It's hard to know because we're not into Destiny. Like, is this the same sort of way that they've been pitching the other expansions, or?
Well, this one has the like new subclasses or whatever, which seems to make it slightly more, and a new area, which is the thing that everyone seems to be most happy about. It's like, oh my god, new fucking land.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Destiny. We don't know shit about that.
No.
But it's still happening.
And then Assassin's Creed turned up again.
Yep, we already mostly covered that, really.
Yeah, with this trailer I thought was kind of poop. I don't know, it just seemed to go on for a bit long and a bit... It was different from the ones Ubisoft showed.
Well, yeah. But not really more interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't as good. And at this point, I've just got a random note that says, by the way, Adam Boyes is still awesome.
Still.
Yeah. He's my favourite Sony guy. He's pretty cool. Just for those, like, I don't know, for Dan's reference, Adam Boyes, I think, is the one where, remember when they did the whole debacle about, like, Xbox DRM and stuff like that, and Sony basically dropped the mic and all that stuff? They did that little video about how they were sharing games.
Oh, yeah.
And Adam Boyes was the one that basically just went, thanks!
Oh, yeah, where he hands him the DVD. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
And now the crowd gets momentarily pre-excited because they start talking about Final Fantasy, but it's some weird Final Fantasy thing that no one knows anything about. What the fuck is it?
World of Final Fantasy, let's make towers out of things chibi style.
Yeah. No idea what the fuck that's about.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, it could be interesting. Sure.
I guess. Yeah, they didn't. There was no idea what the gameplay was, apart from probably it's just Final Fantasy battles.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy style semi-turn based, possibly,
but with some sort of mechanic on how you control two different towers of enemy or like characters, I suppose, like who stands on top of whose shoulders.
Yeah,
which is odd. Could be good. Who knows? It's one of those things with RPGs that it's hard to judge until someone's actually sunk their teeth into the systems.
Yeah. But that was just a psych out.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't the only Final Fantasy thing we're doing, because here comes bomb number 2. Final Fantasy VII is actually being remade.
Bomb of the show.
Unfortunately, we've literally just finished playing the entire
Yeah.
But now you get to do your insanely long let's play of the new one. And
it was only a CG trailer, though. So, later on, again, spoiling ahead, they sort of mentioned in the Squeenix show that they really only just started this.
Yeah,
right.
So it's probably a long time away.
You guys have an appreciation having just finished that game.
We have an appreciation of how fucked up it is.
How cocking weird it is in places. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about that trailer that they showed, which made me think that it was weird, was that the narration over it.
I wasn't sure what it was referring to.
Yeah, it seemed to be suggesting that it was like not exactly the same story. It was like it was a new.
It's talking about reunion, but then...
well, I mean, reunion that is a thing in the game, but it sounded like not exactly the same story, or like it was a different version of the same story. I mean, that's the thing.
That I would be really excited about if they took Final Fantasy VII and made a better game.
And also,
out of its ideas, I'm all for that.
The bits of Midgar that they showed didn't exactly look like how Midgar looks either. It's there was sort of more skyscrapers in certain places.
Yeah, it's not that it's just an HD remaster. It looks like they're doing a sort of total reimagining.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that. That sounds great.
Of course, everyone's super worried.
Well, yeah, of course they are, because it's like it'll be shitting on their nostalgia, right?
Well, there's like everyone has like these million different points where it's like some of them would prefer it if the battle system was different, and some of them want the old battle system, and some of them think Barrett is a big racist character, so he should change, but maybe you shouldn't do that because that we want to keep him the character, which we already created.
The only safe move Square have ever had is to remake it as close to the original as possible.
Yeah.
But is that what people really want? And it's like, well, the answer is, like, I think yes, but I don't want that. Like, I would quite like to see them do something different, because I think, having now played through all of FF7, I think it has some serious problems.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, whole areas of that are really weird.
It just doesn't really make any sense.
No.
Not that many Final Fantasy stories do, but this one in particular.
My most important question about a remake is voice acting.
Yeah.
Will they get the cast of fucking Advent Children back together?
No doubt.
Why not?
That'd be fucking hilarious. Kate Sif is Scottish again for no apparent reason.
Man, this thing could be so many things. But if it's
We're not going to find out for a while.
No, but if it's any one of the things isn't like the original in some way, someone's going to be angry. And maybe that's what Square have been worried about this whole time.
Yeah.
I hope it's something different.
I saw someone make the hilarious suggestion that in this version of Final Fantasy VII, Cloud dies instead of Aeris. Role reversal.
That'd be quite extreme.
That'd be cool.
The alt version. That'd be cool if they did that. Actually, just release multiple, like, so there are just different variations of the whole
toggle
game.
switches.
Yeah.
Go to the menu and turn on the. It's like Jamestown. Turn on fast.
Yeah. My note just says for reals.
Yep, for reals.
Which is also the note I put for Last Guardian. Actually, like, for reals is the phrase I used for the Sony concert.
Or in our game of Final Fantasy VII, for real.
For real, yeah, for real.
YouTube reference.
Yeah.
Go to our channel.
Go check it out. Still haven't put the last episode up.
No.
Devolver montage.
Yep, I didn't even write any of the names. I just put Devolver.
No, I didn't catch the names of the games, but the one I did make the notes are saying it appears they're making Mark of the Ninja and Streets of Rage.
It appears that they're making those games that they keep making, I guess.
Sort of,
like they
retro-styled pixel games.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
That's just what they do. They make
Something
3 or 4 of them at once.
So they specialise in it, so yeah, why not?
Potentially some of those ones that they showed this year they could have shown before and I wouldn't have been able to tell.
No.
Because I didn't note down the names of them last year either.
Oh, was one of them the Westorado, or whatever it's called?
Yeah, it was. I remember that one. That's out, isn't it?
I think so, yeah, on the PC.
Yeah.
And then
bomb number 3.
Bomb number 3, but sort of not. There's a sort of a combination announcement, non-announcement. Because the way they opened this, it was all like, "Hey guys, Shenmue 3, fuck yes." And then we're kind of like, actually, you know what? Maybe Shenmue 3 because it needs to be kickstarted.
Yeah, but the Kickstarter was for like 2 million, so immediately it got funded in like a day. So it was like that was barely a roadblock to that at all.
Yeah,
it was just like, of course it's going to get funded.
Is this Sony sort of doing what they did with? Well, I was about to say what they did with Amplitude, but actually Sony aren't helping Harmonix put Amplitude together, really. No.
Presumably they are putting a lot of money into Shenmue.
Yeah.
On top of that, 2 million. Because I don't think it's going to be a $2 million game.
No, I mean, it's awesome that there's finally a chance for this to come back. And, you know, just because the story was never finished, as they said. Like, the story was incomplete.
Oh, no.
And who knows, I don't actually know how many parts he ever had planned. I think it was quite a lot. Like,
yes.
5 or 6 parts to this. Because basically, like, I only ever played Shenmue 1.
Yeah.
And
did you not play 2? Really... I thought I saw you playing 2. No?
I played the very start of it.
Right, okay.
But it wasn't technically my copy of the game, so I didn't have it for very long.
I see.
So yeah, I played through all of Shenmue 1. The story doesn't really get very far. It's because the story about this, the whole point of Shenmue is it's all very. You're living the day to day, not just the highlights.
Yes, it's like realistically based.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. And I quite enjoyed it. So I would kind of like to see where it goes. But I think what they'll have to do is if Shenmue 3 comes out, then they'll have to somehow release 1 and 2.
Yeah, probably.
Or at least some way of catching up in a decent fashion.
Well, they already have ways to play PlayStation 2 and technically PlayStation 1 games, don't they?
Mm-hmm. But it was on neither. It was Dreamcast.
Yeah, I know, but that's like probably an easier port job.
Although I think they did an Xbox, or an OG Xbox version of Shenmue 2.
Oh yeah, they might then.
But that doesn't help Sony.
No.
Was the Dreamcast powered PC or was it x86? I can't even remember.
No idea. Might have been an x86 base.
Which would make it easier than like a freaking 360 game or whatever, or a PS3 game. Definitely easier PS3.
Well, you can emulate Dreamcast easy enough, so you know.
Well,
on the backwards compatibility notes, by the way, this didn't happen during the conferences or anything. Sony have pretty much come out and confirmed, yeah, we're not going to look at backwards compatibility on PS4. Sorry, guys.
Well, it's because they like their remote streaming solution.
They're going to try and push PlayStation now, aren't they? And also, PlayStation 3 must be a nightmare to emulate, right? The cell processor must be a really difficult thing to figure out, as developers thought it was when it first came out. So yeah, another bomb. Batman?
Yep. Invert from the bomb to extreme
unbomb
interest.
Yeah. Well, it's because basically they just said, hey, well, Batman's still coming, right, in the next next few days, probably.
They were like, and here's Batman, and you're a cop. Like, what?
I mean, it's a relatively cool sequence.
I mean, it's obviously just a Scarecrow thing. That's fair enough.
And, the obvious thing is that Scarecrow is making this cop go crazy, so he shoots a
bunch of civilians, presumably.
Yeah, and then kicks off some kind of turf war or whatever between the things.
But there was absolutely no Batman in that trailer of Batman.
No. The only point they were there was to say, Sony's favourite few words, exclusive content.
Yeah.
There'll be extra missions. They said that for Assassin's Creed as well. There'll be exclusive PlayStation missions.
Yep.
That are usually crap, by the way.
Yep.
Anytime that there is this Sony exclusive stuff in their games, it's usually not worth your time. You want some Morpheus?
Some?
You're going to take the blue pill?
That's not quite right.
Are you going to take the red pill?
Or are you going to play esports, apparently?
Yeah.
This was really the only mention of esports in this entire E3.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, people sort of hinted at competitive play.
Well, there was plenty of MOBAs, but this was the only time where someone explicitly said esports, and it was like, no.
Well, at least there was no one going out of their way to target esports, because that's always super painful.
Yeah.
It's like, at least Evolve had already come out, is what I'm saying.
But yeah, they showed a mysterious, supposed Morpheus-based fighting robots arena game esports.
Yeah, called Riggs.
And that was that. And then suddenly they decided no more VR. That was the only VR in this entire
pretty much
conference.
Well, they did show a bit of a montage of some other stuff that they were working on, not really giving anything any names or stuff, but it looked like there was more than just Riggs. So, some of my notes say there seems to be quite a lot of games being made for this.
Well, maybe games.
Yeah, maybe games, maybe little demos. Who knows?
But yeah, they didn't hang around. They didn't really put any focus on the Morpheus at all.
Yeah, really. A little surprising. They say it's out 2016.
Yep.
Which I think they said before.
Probably.
So, mini bomb, I guess. If I'm getting my order right.
Well, I very unhelpfully, my note in between the Morpheus and this next thing that you're referencing, I just put other boring stuff. I don't remember what that was, so.
Go on,
I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
Something happened at that point.
Oh, yes. I also don't have a note about it, but I think that's where beard man. Can't remember his name, but he's been at Sony for a while. Came out and talked some stuff about some stats or something.
Were they talking about the PlayStation?
Was it Voo?
Yeah, Voo. Was that it? Was that when they did that? Maybe. I don't know. Well, there you go. It was boring anyway.
Yeah.
And then something slightly less boring.
So, Voo. Call of Duty Black Ops 3
turns up at the Sony press conference.
Yeah, decided to do its campaign reveal for Sony and breaking tradition, not for Microsoft.
Okay.
And also, they made the announcement that COD, that its DLC would be arriving first on Sony platforms, not a Microsoft platform. The tables have turned, sir.
For some reason.
Yeah. I mean, Sony's basically outbid Microsoft for the rights.
Seems like it.
Or Microsoft have given up caring.
Yeah, that's also possible.
I mean, it's kind of interesting, because does this mean that Sony think that they can turn the tide with COD, in the sense that they've got this big install base? Can they... This is their moment. This is their moment to strike. I'm not 100% sure that that PSN is going to win over the...
No. Even with Xbox Live's half these systems still being weird, even at this point. But PlayStation's one is barely functional. It's not feature rich.
Yeah. Will it win out? I'm not 100% sure it's going to change anything about the landscape of COD players. But they showed it as what looks to be a 4-player co-op campaign, which is not what I'm in for. Blops 2 was a pretty innovative game in terms of its branching story concepts.
Yeah, and
I kind of like playing the solo campaigns in COD. They've been pretty fun the last few games.
Yeah,
got ghosts aside. So seeing this is a little bit disappointing to me, because it's will it actually play well in single player? Who knows? It's the bit they showed actually seemed like a bit of a
super bland.
Yeah, a bit like a horde mode. They're all stood in one place while things attack from all angles, and it's I'm not sure this is what I want from a COD game.
But do you want nano bees? Because apparently those are big bees. So whatever that, deploy the bees
and remote walker tank hacking and
and then they showed some
and a force puke. There was a force puke.
They used the 6-stick.
Yeah, from afar, he just hold his hand up and this guy sort of threw up.
That's sort of getting into Syndicate territory. That is hacking them because they're all augmented.
Hack my bowels
or Deus Ex. And then they showed a little bit of multi, which was, I thought, a funny video just because of how literally everyone was just running into your sights.
Yeah.
That's not how that game works.
It never happens like that. Not with that frequency, anyway.
It's you literally can't miss. Just press the fire button and someone will dive directly in front of your crosshairs.
The thing I said about that was that it looks like Titanfall without the Titans.
Yeah.
The way the characters move and stuff.
Yeah, they're doing the wall running and all that.
Yeah. Which is probably no bad thing, actually. It's and actually makes it still different from how Advanced Warfare went for the mobility route. With the way you have to do the boosts with the suit.
Yeah. And
stuff like that. It's still a different game. And that's fine. I'm okay with that.
And also, it's back, Year of the Bow.
Yeah, the bow's back. Yeah.
Even this year, we can't escape goddamn bows somehow in the future.
Adam bows. Not boys. Bows.
Yes, exactly. So that was Call of Duty.
You want to see some more Star Wars? They showed some more Star Wars. We talked about what they showed about Star Wars earlier.
Well, there was
Star Wars.
They had their little bit of Star Wars Infinity as well. As well as Battlefront.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But, that's just Infinity. That's just the Disney thing.
Yeah, I mean, it looked okay.
Put the shit on the portal.
Yeah. Not got a lot of a problem with Disney Infinity. It looked fine.
Yep.
But But yeah, the Battlefront stuff.
Yeah, we talked about that briefly. It's
They were being very careful not to say Battlefield during that demonstration. I'm pretty sure he got very close to it because they said, like, oh, this is one of just some of the crazy things that can happen when you're caught up in the middle of the battlefront.
Yeah, it's like, it is technically a battlefield that you're on.
Yeah.
But we can't say that.
Because it's brand confusion. He sort of had it sounded like he had a slight pause before saying Battlefront.
That's fair enough. Everyone knows. It doesn't even matter if he does. He's only pimping his own, brand.
Yeah. They kind of know what they're doing, don't they? It is basically...
Yeah, but maybe Disney doesn't want their shit associated with Battlefield.
Maybe, but it's not... Who knows?
Yeah.
But that was when they showed the sort of deserty planet stuff.
The sort of co-op horde defense.
And like before, looked real good.
Yep.
Looked real good. And then there was the finisher.
Yep.
So Uncharted 4 had to turn up at some point.
Yep.
And so it did. And suffered technical problems right away.
They completely failed to get that demo functional.
Yeah, it took a long while to start. And then once it started, the first time it handed control over to the player, he couldn't control it.
Yeah.
So they basically just restarted it, and so we saw the intro again and stuff.
Well, there was some suggestion, and people were speculating whether that was whether they transitioned to a video or transitioned to a second console that was also running the same thing, and he just moved.
Oh, of course. Yeah, well, probably, given the speed of it, yeah, that was probably what they had set up. They would have had to have transitioned to something pretty damn quick.
Yeah, but people were speculating on whether it was video or gameplay or being played still. But
who knows? He might not have been playing it.
I mean, it still was the perfect run or whatever. He knew exactly where all the side streets to turn the car down were.
Yeah, although they weren't that hard to see.
No,
I mean the layout of that area was kind of like the road is going to wiggle left, right, left, right, left, right. There were always routes
straight
whenever something gets in your way to go left, right, or middle. Yeah, it was pretty obvious.
It was a car chase scene, which is kind of weird. If
you
consider, how is that actually going to play? What if you fail? What's the fail state like?
Yeah,
how does
They've
it
always
reset?
done it great before, though. It's always worked fine. If you look at Uncharted 2 and 3, they usually
go back.
Yeah,
a few moments would be how it's handled. The physics were very forgiving.
Yeah,
put it that way.
Naturally.
Yeah,
I thought the water looked kind of shitty.
Yeah, I mean, muddy water is actually kind of a tricky thing to render because it never looks quite as you expect. But there was no splash.
Yeah, he's driving the FIFA, and it's not splashing or trailing.
No,
or at all.
But out of the entire demo, that was the one thing that looked kind of bad.
Yeah,
everything else looked kind of cool, but a lot like Uncharted.
It's an Uncharted game.
It's definitely Uncharted, right?
Yeah,
but it doesn't look like they're doing a great deal new.
No,
it's just another Uncharted game, but it's. Do I have a problem with that? No, I do not. And they still stressed that it's coming out 2016.
Yes.
And that was how the Sony show sort of just ended.
Yep.
Not bad job, Sony. Not bad. You didn't fall into the EA trap.
You didn't talk forever.
You didn't. No, there was no powers. There was no excessive.
There was just that one boring bit that we don't remember, which could have gone on forever, but we don't remember.
Yeah. I think I started talking to Gnome at that point, because I've been sat there a while. Wasn't too long. They kept the pace up.
Yeah.
Much better job, Sony, than what you've done before. Yeah, good show. Good show. Plenty of reason for it to be a good show as well. With as I say, three big 3.5, I suppose, bombs.
Yep,
it's a pretty good ratio of surprise.
Although the Final Fantasy one was arguably a desperate attempt to recover a bomb. Where it's just we fucked this up real bad last year.
Yeah.
Do you think that they do you think that it was actually happening last year and they just weren't going to announce it then? Do you think that was a decision that had happened since last year when they saw that everyone was super pissed?
I think it must have done. Yeah. But they, again, we'll come to it. But they sort of addressed that in the Squeenix show, sort of. But Ninty came first.
Yep.
With another one of their video directs.
Yes.
Not quite as slick as the Robot Chicken one, I don't think.
Well,
But they went all Jim Henson on it.
Well, they Muppets, yeah. I mean,
which was pretty cool.
I don't know if you'd say less slick. I mean, it was Muppet styled.
I mean, there were fewer jokes.
They tried to do the
Slightly
Muppet style of weird, not really joke, like just acting.
Yeah, dancing and gesturing and do it all through exaggeration rather than I mean, it's kind of, they'd made fairly decent Muppets of all three Minty faces.
Fairly.
I like Reggie's push-ups.
Yeah.
Nintendo 63, Nintendo 64.
And then he declared his puppet body was ready, as you do.
My puppet body is ready.
Because that joke's never going to go away, goddammit.
Ninty are still very much aware of their own memes, which is great.
Those memes would go away if they just let them.
Who cares? I don't want them to. I would much prefer that they embrace them.
We'll talk about that a little more later.
Oh, hells yes, we will.
Anyway, so the whole setup for the Muppets thing was, oh my god, they turned into Star Fox characters. Surprise! Yep. Star Fox.
Yep. Confirmed for Q4 release this year.
My notes for this says, Star Fox Zero, go under archers.
Yeah.
Because that was basically the whole thing of him, Shigeru, is like, I like to go under archers, don't you? Fucking go under archers.
It's like this shrine where I live. And it's interesting to note that was the inspiration for the Canaria stage, but it's actually the whole direction they seem to be taking with Star Fox Zero is kind of interesting, in that it's sort of a reboot, sort of.
Yeah, sort of.
In that the Corneria stage, for instance, is incredibly familiar. Down to the dialogue that's been said, down to the design of the stage, the design of the enemies. There are differences, but it's that they are directly gunning for the old school experience on that stage.
I don't know if that means it's a reboot or a remake. I think
it's a bit of both.
I think that just means that they're doing a reference in their tutorial level.
It's a bit of both. Like that is in that they are doing the story of Star Fox 64 or Lilac Wars, as far as I can tell. But they've made the missions different. They've made the journey to how you get there different.
Do you really think that's actually what they're going to do? They're going to be the same story?
Well, because the dialogue we've seen is like at the end of the Corneria stage, but like Peppy goes, "You've become a lot like your father." The exact same lines from Lilac Wars. Like even the conversation with Falco is the same. And the only thing that I didn't see was do a barrel roll.
Doesn't Zero imply a prequel though?
Kinda. Also, that he went on to that big old thing about he just likes the Kanji character because the swoosh looked a bit like a foxtail. It had better be good, but
some people have been saying it's maybe not.
Yeah, the reaction to it has been very
thing.
Mixed. Like when people have got their hands on it, saying that the control scheme is a lot to get used to. With the in the same way that I suppose you could argue that Splatoon at first is kind of odd,
right,
and then eventually you grasp it. Even the Nintendo representatives have been saying that. The girl that they interviewed on one of the tree houses when they talked about Star Fox 64 said exactly the same thing. She was like, "Yeah, the first time I played this, I didn't get it at all, but the second and third times, it suddenly clicked, and I got it." So I think a lot of reporters who have had just the one playthrough or something come away saying, this isn't what I usually expect from Nintendo. This isn't the same level of intuitive polish that I associate with them. And to be fair, I have some concerns as well, not because I've played it or I don't necessarily understand how the control is a bit odd, or the cinematic camera might be somewhat disruptive. I have some slight concerns because there are bits of it that look a bit like Star Fox Assault, and I didn't really get on with that.
You don't like Walker? The
Walker might not work so great.
The chicken walker thing.
Nope. Dan's gone very quiet for me. What did he say?
The chicken walker thing. I mean,
the chicken walker
turns into right.
Which is, in fairness to them, and they're right. This is exactly what they wanted to do in Star Fox 2, and there's plenty of footage on the internet to demonstrate that the walker was a thing. Yeah. But in fairness, it is better than being on foot, as a large portion of Star Fox Assault was. And it wasn't very good.
It seems kind of unnecessary that they have the R-Wing turns into a walker, and the tank turns into an R-Wing. It's like it transforms back into a flying thing again.
Yeah. What exactly is the point?
And then they have a helicopter as well.
I mean, part of the reasoning they've said is like actually a lot of the stages can be played with the different, like all of the stages can probably be played with different vehicles. So does that mean that they will be dramatically different depending on which vehicle you pick? I'm not 100% sure that's true. No. Or are they all going to be the same? But does it also mean that there aren't going to be levels focused on a certain style of play? Like, you know, how the train level in Lilac Wars was pretty awesome because it was entirely Landmaster based and kind of difficult because of it. Because it was so easy to miss a switch because it would be hidden behind something.
Or a random way or something.
Yeah, the crappiest level in the game. It had better be good, man.
It's got to be, right?
It has to be. Otherwise, Star Fox is truly dead, really.
It's Shigsy, though. When has he ever failed?
Yeah, in fairness, Shigsy hasn't actually been really that involved with Star Fox since Lilac Wars, so...
All those games that have come out since then.
Well, Assault and Adventures and Armada. There have been a few.
Yes, technically.
I've got a dead cat next to me.
Yep, that's a good... The cat is not impressed.
It's properly splayed out.
Next up, suddenly Skylanders.
Yeah, because they wanted to make a big deal of the fact that Amiibo and Skylanders get on.
Well, yeah. Basically, it's a fucking toggle switch. Yeah. You switch it between Amiibo mode and Skylander mode.
They basically just wanted to say if you buy the Nintendo-specific Skylanders for the new Skylanders game...
Which is Bowser and Donkey Kong.
That you'll be able to use those versions of Bowser and Donkey Kong as Amiibos in other things.
Oh, okay.
So there's a reason to buy those specific Skylanders.
And the Skylanders guy was like, I can't believe we're getting away with this.
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah. They were sort of repeating the fact that they were surprised to how lenient or to how encouraging Nintendo were with using their characters.
Yeah.
It's like, because they were saying, it's like, oh, we wanted a really big version of Bowser when he gets powered up, so we thought, well, the Giga Bowser exists for that, right? And then he basically said, no, do something crazy, man. And so they made a Magma Bowser.
Magma Bowser. Awesome.
And then in exactly the same way, they had a bit where they were saying, it's like, well, we were setting Goombas on, we were setting Koopas on fire. And they were like, when Nintendo were like, doesn't it make more sense for Dry Bones to be on fire? And it's like, well, no, not really. But but it's like, this would look better if it was a Dry Bones. And it's like, oh yeah, good idea, we'll do that. So, yeah. So I think it seemed like a sales pitch towards people perhaps working with Nintendo on more things. Like, it's like, look, we're not that precious.
Yeah, maybe.
We want to encourage creativity. How about that hot Zelda action?
Next up, we've got 4-1 swords.
Yeah. Zelda 3 Swords Adventure.
Yep.
Yeah, Triforce Heroes. I mean, it's good that they went back to that formula. It's a kind of neat idea.
It's not, though. Because basically what they show is, oh no, this enemy is exactly 3 people tall. You'd better stand on top of each other to hit it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not cool.
I'm hoping there's more to it than just toteming, as they called it.
Yeah. And then little bits of text keep coming on the screen. It's like, totem time! And also, in the traditional Nintendo style of interviewing developers, the guy just is like, 4 was too tall, so we went to 3.
Yeah.
It's like, that is a very traditional Nintendo developer thing where it's like, here's the dumbest reasoning possible for this mechanic that we came up with. 4 was too tall.
They might have been right. It might have been difficult to get everything they wanted on screen, like with their perspective and stuff that they were showing.
It's real dumb.
Seemed like they were a bit married to this totem idea.
It's going to be another game like 4 Swords that no one actually plays.
Yeah,
I mean, even in the age of the 3DS where it's much easier to do system links,
yeah,
rather than having to fucking have cables and shit like you used to.
It is a shame because there's nothing inherently wrong with that as a concept, but does making it on a handheld.
I mean, it does look like
is making it on a handheld the problem here.
It does look like a sort of cheap Zelda game.
Yeah,
like some of the way the enemies animate when they die and stuff. It's like they've got the theming of the last DS Zelda game, Link Between Worlds or whatever. They've got that tile set, I guess you'd call it, but it just looks slightly less polished in all elements.
Would it have been better if they'd gone down the route of making a Wii U, like making it exactly as it is, but putting it on the Wii U, like for the chances of more people being able to play it rather than everyone having to own a 3DS? Or
well, they could have done it if they really wanted to. They could have done it on the Wii U and had it be like one person on TV, one person on gamepad, one person on a 3DS, then you only need one.
I guess, yeah.
If they really wanted to.
Or if they really wanted to, they could make Crystal Chronicles good.
Well, yes, they could make a Crystal Chronicles actually real game.
Yep.
But they're not going to, apparently.
No.
Not this year. And then some more hot Zelda action.
Was it?
They're bringing Hyrule Warriors to the 3DS!
Yes. Great.
With a fucking boat.
Yeah, in fairness, that looked pretty cool. Like when he turned into a boat, that like the King of the Sea or whatever.
King of Red Lions.
Yeah, like and the battlefield basically turned into the sea.
Water, for some reason.
It looked kind of neat.
It's funny, but also kind of dumb.
But that is Hyrule Warriors, right? Kind of dumb.
And the fucking Wind Waker characters don't really fit it. I mean, King of Red Lion, sure, but they've got fucking Tetra, and she is Zelda.
Yeah,
it's the whole goddamn point.
A different Zelda.
Well, they have Sheik and Zelda fighting each other in Smash Brothers.
Also the problem.
Yeah.
And now it's time for your regularly scheduled Nintendo disappointment.
Yeah.
Oh shit, here comes Metroid!
Oh, it's a crappy 3DS spin-off game that's not really a proper game. Like, real weird. Four-player
looks kind of weirdly chibi.
It can't be a full-blown title as well. Like the way that they set that up, right? It can't be like a full-price game.
Well, it could be a full-price game. It might not be a full game.
No, it doesn't look, because there's that Metroid Prime Federation Force thing, and then there was also the Blast Ball?
It's just a mode inside that game.
Within it, which is basically a football game with Metroid mechanics.
Well, a football game.
Yeah.
It's another like 4-person game that no one's going to play.
But then, like, the makers of Metroid Prime are elsewhere. So.
Well, some of them are anyway.
Yeah. Who even is Retro anymore? What are they doing? That's the thing. That's the question.
It doesn't even have Samus in it. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
And what's it got to do with Metroid Prime?
Probably nothing other than it's in first person.
Exactly. Metroid Prime, that refers to Metroids and the fucking last boss of the game called Metroid Prime. And then the 2 subsequent games maybe have less relevance.
Well, they're the aftermath.
Yeah, it's like Dark Samus comes out of Metroid Prime and all that shit.
That's basically why they carry on with that. Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, it's not got fuck all to do with Metroid Prime.
No. I had a moment of getting quite excited about the next item on this list. Only a moment.
A moment
I'm not sure we have the same item on this list.
Momentary.
Okay, what's your next item then?
Fire Emblem Fates.
No, that's just what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Like, because I've not played a Fire Emblem game, so I'm not.
Because you don't have a 3DS.
No. I kind of appreciate it for what it is, and I think it's a kind of cool thing, but at the same time, it doesn't get me hype. Until I thought, they were showing some really high quality cinematic stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh crap, have they made a Fire Emblem on Wii? Like on Wii U or something?
No, they haven't.
It's like, maybe I'm on board with this. Oh no, it is just the 3DS version. They've just made some really high quality cinematics that aren't going to look like that on the 3DS.
They looked quite a lot like that in the last game.
No, but they won't, like when they pixelate it and show it on that screen, they won't look like that.
It's not that pixelated. I mean, it's fine. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, I had a moment of, okay, maybe I would really be into this if it was a Wii U title. Maybe I could get on board. Don't want a 3DS.
Yes, you do. Street passes.
Gotta get those puzzle pieces.
Yep, exactly.
Also, what the fuck happened next?
This is the question that I have for myself, because my notes is completely unhelpful. It just says SMTXFE. So, what does that mean? I remember.
The FE part I got.
It's Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem.
Oh, that's what that was.
I remembered what my acronym stood for.
I didn't understand anything of what was going on.
Also, it was in Japanese, which didn't help.
It was in Japanese. They showed lots of close-ups of characters. Gnome gave me the look when one of the characters had a boob jiggle.
Yep, there's anime.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Because with Atlas, I suppose. Yep. And all I got was FE.
Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea what that game is even meant to be, and I know nothing about Shin Megami, whatever.
We knew that was coming, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently. Maybe they don't have Marth. They have Crom.
Yeah, that was the one clue I had. I saw the name Crom at one point.
And he looked weird and fucked up in that universe. It seems like it might be a traditional kind of like you're summoning the fire element, the fire emblem characters into that world. It's like less of a direct crossover. It's more of like a summoning these.
Oh, what the
powerful.
It's not Persona, but that the Fire Emblem characters are like Persona.
Yeah, maybe something along those lines. And now the most important bit of the whole Nintendo thing:
Puppet Iwata holding bananas.
Yeah. I knew Rob would be so happy when I saw that. I was like, oh shit, this is the bit Rob needs to see. Rob just types bananas in all caps.
Yep. That's all I needed to know. Bananas! We predicted it.
Yeah, we did
actually predict it. This is what I'm talking about, though. Nintendo is super aware of themselves.
And making forced memes all over the place.
It's great. I fucking love Nintendo sometimes. And that was one of those moments.
Okay, good. The thing about it is that, like, wasn't the whole point of the bananas that it had something to do with Donkey Kong? At the time.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I can only remember the original picture. Probably, yeah. Maybe it was like for the original. Maybe was it for Donkey Kong Country Returns when that first turned up?
Quite possible.
Or was it when they first announced Tropical Freeze?
One of those. But now, of course, it's just a thing, so it has no relevance. Whereas like it transitions into Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah.
It's just like that's not got shit to do with bananas.
That was just meme bait, you know.
Yep. That was just the meme moment. Again. So Xenoblade Chronicles X. That's a thing. Fuck knows what the shit that's about.
I don't know what it's about, but the more I see of that game, the more I'm interested.
Okay.
Because it looks like the good bit of Final Fantasy 13.
Which part was that?
You know, when you get to Pulse and it suddenly opens up and you get to do all these crazy things, and it looks like they saw Final Fantasy 13 and said, "Oh, this is pretty cool. Let's make a good game out of that bit."
I'm not sure that's what they did, but
no, I mean it's more than that, obviously, or it's like different. But in a weird way, I kind of got that vibe from it. It's like the world is cool. I like this sort of weird, impossible
hills
geology. Yeah, yeah. Perhaps I should figure out more about what this is. It seems like a pretty cool thing.
It seems like a series that you might have needed to be in to have it make any sense whatsoever.
Possibly, yeah. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it's just a story in their world. But, yeah.
And now it's time for Animal Crossing.
But not.
But again, not Animal Crossing, really.
Yeah. This was like the super casual versions of Animal Crossing.
Well, sort of. I mean, it's basically exactly the same as Animal Crossing, apart from with less busy work. I mean, no, wait. With
all the busy work.
Well, no, with about half the busy work. I mean, you don't go around digging up fossils and shaking trees and selling fruit. You just build the houses.
Yeah, I guess. It's about effectively running the hotel or something.
Well, it's
or
like
something similar.
Design. You're like a home designer.
Yeah.
You're an interior designer, basically. You go into people's houses, they tell you what the fuck they want, and then you make it. How much gameplay there is to that?
Yeah,
because the whole point of designing your home in actual Animal Crossing was like you had to earn it.
Yeah. You had to have And you have the right to have a basement full of gyroids.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that.
Yeah.
And then there's also apparently not Mario Party.
Yeah, this was really confusing because, like, in Mario Party 10, apparently the real version of Mario Party is locked behind an amiibo wall.
Yeah.
So you have to have 4 different amiibos in order to play the game, kind of as it originally was, on a weirdly stripped down, visually stripped down version of it.
Yeah.
So they're making that, but without the mini games in Animal Crossing theme.
Well, some people were suggesting that maybe it's more along the lines of Fortune Street with Animal Crossing.
That would make a bit more sense, I guess.
Like, because Fortune Street doesn't have the mini games; it's just like a Monopoly game, like buying property and shit.
Sure,
they didn't really.
That would fit better.
Yeah, they didn't really show that.
Didn't see that.
It just seemed like more like a really super traditional board game, like Snakes and Ladders or something, where it's just like you land on a space and a good thing or a bad thing happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely ultra casual kids game is all I can say.
Also involves amiibos.
Yeah, that you need 4 amiibos to play.
And
it means there's more Animal Crossing amiibos coming.
Fucking Tom Nook amiibo.
Shit, yeah. Well, that hedgehog looked pretty cool.
Oh, what? Mabel. Probably Mabel. They all have the same name. It's Mabel, Sable, and I can't remember the other one.
Clefable.
Clefable. Okay, there's that. That's Animal Crossing. Two things that use that same graphical style, and it's not a new Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But, it hasn't been that long since the last one, so...
It's quite weird, though.
Are they going to do an actual console Animal Crossing again?
I don't think they will. Not for a while.
I don't know, it could work pretty well with, like, the Wii U tablet.
They did do a Wii version, didn't they?
I remember. That was the one with the Tube World.
And they released the Wii Talk, didn't they, with that? I think that was when that debuted.
Possibly. Yeah. I don't know. I think that could, an Animal Crossing game with the gamepad, you could do some stuff with that. Also, just to make it so that you could access it wherever you were in the house.
Or if it cloud saved or something to the 3DS or something, that would be cool.
Yeah, well, like cross compatibility.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen.
It's a bit much for an Inti, methinks.
And then, as we've also predicted, they showed Woolly World some more because that game still isn't fucking out.
Well, it's about to be out, isn't it? It's not far away.
It's about to be out.
Nothing to say about that.
No, they basically just confirmed what we knew about it, and that it's a Yoshi game.
Yep.
Like, to just get through the levels is easy, to get everything in the levels is hard, as it always has been.
Yeah.
Nothing really new
there.
Well,
they did show, like, 2-player, I guess.
Oh, sure, yeah. And the fact that you could style your Yoshi with amiibo.
Well, they'd already shown that before the conference. But yeah. And then, another thing that I don't actually remember, because I've written the name of it and then forgot what it was.
Yokai?
Yep.
Yeah, that looked odd.
What the fuck was that?
It looked like one part Pokemon Snap.
Oh, right, yeah, I remember.
One part Puzzle and Dragons, and one part just Pokemon. With a watch.
Yes, with a watch.
Like, you're in a town and there are ghosts in it, and you can see the ghosts, but if you take a picture of the ghost, you capture it, and it gets stored in your watch.
And at that point, it's just Digimon.
And the ghosts are called yokai, so your watch is the yokai watch.
And then you fight them against each other or something, probably.
You fight evil yokai with your yokai.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
one of them looked like a cat.
This is probably some, like, ridiculously old property in Japan that we have no idea about.
Probably. That's what usually happens.
Yeah. Traditional. And then things got slightly maybe enthusiastic and possibly weird.
Well, I mean, you're a fan of these, aren't you?
Yeah, but this is a bit of a risky maneuver.
Yeah.
They're making Mario and Luigi cross Paper Mario.
I've got to admit, it looked a bit cluttered and weird and a mismatch of ideas that I don't think necessarily worked.
Well, it's just like the style of Paper Mario is like super distinct, and the style of the new 3DS Mario and Luigi also super distinct because of its weird like scanned model.
Yeah,
like, drawings.
I mean, it looks to me like Mario RPG. That style.
But putting them together just makes them both seem weird, kind of out of place.
Yeah, neither one looked particularly correct or fitting. I mean, and even the name is dumb. Like Mario and Luigi Paper Jam Bros. Because just to me, it sounds like they've had some kind of office failure.
Assuming they're keeping the bros part, that's the bit that makes it really weird.
Like, you need to call the IT department, sort out your Paper Jam, bro.
But the trouble is that, like...
it's like office, Mario and Luigi office supply technicians. That's how that reads to me.
The main problem with it is just like everyone hated Sticker Star, and that has now corrupted Paper Mario. And everyone's super worried about it.
Mm.
It's like
I liked Sticker Star, did they? I thought it went down sort of better than Super Paper Mario.
Arguably, I think that was like a half and half type thing.
Okay,
it's like some parts of Super Paper Mario are okay, and some parts of Sticker Star are okay. But like overall, they were both kind of poopy.
Mm.
And they showed. Mainly what they showed in that trailer was Paper Mario stuff. It's like turn into a paper plane and turn into a tube. And
turn an enemy into paper so you can mash against
or summon a giant papercraft thing.
Yeah.
Or turn into a giant papercraft robot. And it's like, okay, that's Paper Mario. What about the other half?
Because the other half isn't about gimmicks.
No.
Really,
well, it's sort of. I mean, it's about the team abilities. The Mario and Luigi jump on each other's head, hammer each other into the ground. All those.
Yeah.
And there's no room. You can't. Paper Mario's 2D. That doesn't work. You can't hammer him into the ground. He's a bit of paper. He'd just fall into the ground anyway because he's so thin. I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah, who knows where that's going to be.
So that may be okay. I mean,
the Mario and Luigi games have had a pretty good run, haven't they?
Well, the Mario and Luigi games always have been. Well, I guess Paper Mario also. They've always been good with writing. So, that bit will probably still survive.
Was it the fucking, like, Macho Bros or whatever?
Yeah.
That whole band?
The meat dudes.
Oh, that was funny.
And, the classics were like Forful, I Have a Fury, etc.
Yep. It's good stuff.
So maybe that'll be okay. I don't know, maybe.
Probably better than Mario Tennis. Ultra Smash or something. Is it Mario Tennis Ultra Smash? Yeah. Just due out this year.
They've done the same thing that they did last time, where we just want Mario Tennis. We don't want Mario Tennis with stupid gimmicks.
And of course, the gimmick this time was the Mega Mushroom.
This time, it's like, how have they not already done that?
Yeah.
So you get huge, and that doesn't actually seem to help.
No.
It's like you don't seem to get that much more powerful or that much more reach. It's just like you're big.
Does that not look worthwhile then?
I don't know.
I don't know, modern Mario Tennis, I think the main problem with modern Mario Tennis is it's never handled as well. Just like the actual tennis part.
When you say modern, like how many games have there been? Do you just mean the GameCube one, the Power Tennis?
Yeah, that's the Power Smash.
Where they screwed it up a bit. Yeah. But I mean, maybe they'll go back to more 64 style. I mean,
part of what makes the 64 version like endearing to us is actually, in a way, it's kind of weird in its control, right? Everything is very floaty, everything is very momentum-y, and that's what kind of makes the tennis difficult.
Yeah.
Right.
If you make a mistake and you start heading in the wrong direction, it's very difficult to correct.
And like, I just think in that game, the actual like ball physics felt more solid. It's like, I think it's like they've basically reversed it. It's like in the new games, the movement is more solid, but the ball physics feels more floaty.
Yeah. I think I preferred it the other way around.
Yeah.
Have the ball be somewhat predictable, but make you the weak link.
Yeah.
As tennis should be, really. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to be that interesting. Again.
Who knows? I keep meaning to go back to Power Tennis at some point and just confirm with myself that our suspicions about it being poopier were actually correct.
Oh, come on. It definitely wasn't as good.
No, you're going to have to get out the N64 and have to play that. Oh, no.
GameCube.
No, and then you'll have to play the original as well, for comparison.
yeah, okay. I'm not against that either.
But we need 4 people. That's always it's the same problem I said last time about Left 4 Dead and all these other 4-player games. We don't have 4 people to play it.
Yeah, Mario Tennis definitely only really works.
You can't play singles. It's just no good.
No, it's not as good. It isn't like no. Mario Tennis only really works in 4-player, and then it's brilliant.
Yep.
Man, the amount of single player I played on the N64 Mario Tennis, right? Because you have to go through it quite a lot to get stuff unlocked and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago that I actually tried to do that again, and was like, how did I have the patience to do all this? Because patience is what you needed.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's tennis with a helping of more tennis
and like full-length games.
Yeah.
Like 5 fucking sets.
Yeah.
Here we go.
How on earth did I cope with that?
And now the thing everyone's been waiting for, because it's actually a game and holy shit.
It's reals. For reals.
Yeah, for reals. Super Mario Maker, because they've stuck Super on it, apparently.
Yeah, Mario Maker wasn't good enough. They had to jump to the sequel.
They actually did do the Super thing, like we said they would, but they did.
Yeah, we got that one wrong.
And yeah, apparently it's awesome.
It
turned out okay.
It looks like there's a lot more to it than as everyone wanted, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the basic thing that they first showed. No, they've actually gone all the way with this.
Made it crazy.
Yeah.
Which is freaking sweet.
I mean, I don't think I'm going to get into the whole creating stages thing that much. That's not my bag with these sort of things. But if it means like a crazy number of new levels,
yeah,
perhaps that on its own is reason enough.
It's kind of cool that you can't submit your level until
unless you completed
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Somewhat sensible. Yeah, due out 11th of September this year.
Oh, that's the one that came out on September 11th.
Oh, yes. Yes. Mario. You have no tact. Maybe they think it's been long enough.
Maybe Japan doesn't remember shit.
Japan don't care.
Yes.
That's almost right.
And then to finish up...
So they've added a couple of skins and stuff like to this. That I don't think they had the Super theme before.
Didn't they?
The Super Mario World theme, I think, was...
Which looks really good.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing I'm not so sure about, right, is when you go to the Mario 1 theme,
yeah,
and there's everything has that weird shadow. I hope you can turn that off.
Where it looks like it's sort of
paper on top of
a background.
Yeah, I hope you can turn that off. I don't think it looks that. I don't like that.
What about the other characters? Was that a amiibo thing? I can't remember. But
they didn't really explain it. I think you could just get them as power ups, almost like I think it's costume mode.
Yeah, people have been saying that it's basically just like it's a special mushroom that you put in the level as a power up, and when you pick it up, it just changes the sprite. It doesn't actually do anything.
Oh, okay.
Like there's some like.
That's a bit more disappointing.
Little comedy anime, like if you get the Zelda one, and then you just stop and push up on the D-pad, he like holds up the Triforce, and that's it. It doesn't actually do anything. It's just a casual reference.
That's a little more disappointing than I was expecting. I thought there would be some interesting mechanics associated with it.
No.
Like, because they showed a brief clip of the Wii Fit trainer basically just shouting instructions.
Yeah, as you do.
It's kind of funny. But the other thing I suppose that's worth mentioning is that the mechanics from newer games have sort of been backported into the older skin sets.
Sort of, but apparently not always.
No.
Like wall jumps disappear if you go back into the old
Oh sure, the physics go into the old style, but some of the like block mechanics and
some
things
of the
carry
titles.
over. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe that's depending on how that is marketed
and how expensive it is,
and stuff like that. Because I'm not 100% sure that as a full game it would be worth it.
No,
but I had a good time with the last Mario game I properly played was Super Mario Wii U.
Yeah,
and I had a great time with that. So a crazy Mario sounds kind of cool.
Kind of. And then to finish up the Nintendo press conference, it's time to do the Mario. Oh wait, not quite. They really should have just fucking had it do the Mario.
Do the Mario. Yeah, the sort of Mario music montage thing. That's pretty cool.
But they want you to do the Mario, just not do the Mario.
Yeah, because that's basically what Reggie ended it with. It's like, yeah, send us your Mario stuff. It could be anything.
Yes.
Swing your legs from side to side.
Arms, not legs. Swing your legs from side to side.
How are you going to do that?
First, you've got to hang from something.
Yes, clearly.
Swing your arms from side. I love more frequently than that version of it. For some reason, on my computer, you've put the German version of that.
Well, that's from Jutland. That's why that's on there.
Oh man, that version is so hilarious.
Yes, the angry German version.
Angry German do the Mario. Super Mario!
Back to Mario.
I'm the Stein. Whatever he says, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even remember. But yeah.
Oh, that's really funny.
So that's that. That's Nintendo.
Not quite as cool as last year's, I don't think, in general. But still not bad.
People seemed a bit annoyed on Twitter and stuff. I think they had a reasonable amount of stuff. I think.
I mean, none of it was really like, boom, check this out, bitches.
No.
You know? This is kind of stuff we sort of thought coming, and the stuff they did surprise us with was just kind of like, really? Or, okay. I mean, maybe this is the start, the sort of the wind down of Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have all the NX stuff next year, won't they? So
yeah,
maybe.
I mean, maybe this is a point to talk about some stuff or the one thing that I've discovered outside of the Nintendo conference but they showcased on Treehouse at one point that
I saw a brief video of.
Yeah.
Someone else is making F-Zero.
Someone else is making F-Zero, yeah. I think it's a company called Shinen or Shinen.
Right.
Do I get sued? And yeah, it looks like they're trying really, really hard to make an F-Zero game.
Well, the thing is, apparently now Future Racing is back because there's that on the Wii, so it's not Nintendo making it, but it's on the Wii U.
Yep.
Apparently, there's a version of that Quantum Rush game that we had sent to us ages ago is now on Xbox, and it actually looks better than it did when we played it.
Poop at the time.
And there's the not Wipeout that's coming.
Formula Fusion
on PC, probably. Yeah. So it's just everyone has Future Racing again, apart from, for some reason, Nintendo still refuses to actually make it.
In fairness, they all have terrible names.
Yep.
Because this one that's coming to Wii U, just to add to Formula Fusion and Quantum Rush, neither of which are great names, is Fast Racing Neo. Literally just called Fast Racing.
Pretty funny.
Oh, man. But in fairness to it, it looks like it might actually be pretty good.
Yeah.
Quite a good representation of the kind of speed and the kind of gameplay that you would expect from an F-Zero game.
Yeah. As in,
so
F-Zero GX?
F-Zero GX, yeah. Even down to the music style that they've picked, it seems to be directly gunning for GX.
So, goddamn it, Nintendo, just make an F-Zero already.
Yeah, goddamn it, come on, man. But at least Nintendo had this sort of good grace to sort of be like, oh, well, we're going to put this on our Treehouse because someone's making a Wii U game.
Well, yeah. I wonder if there was any reservations about that decision. It's it's a Wii U game. We really need Wii U games to show, but they're making fucking F-Zero, and everyone keeps bitching at us to make F-Zero.
Yeah. Fast Neo F-Zero.
It's close.
Sort of, yeah.
And they made Star Fox Zero, so
Yeah.
That's going to be an F-Zero crossover.
Oh, man. If that's how the second half of that game plays out.
Well, you remember the old story about how Star Fox is in F-Zero.
Yeah.
The crossover universe.
Ooh. Well, no, it's not Star Fox, it's James.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. He's still Star Fox, what are you talking about? He's the original Star Fox.
He's the original Star Fox, yeah.
So, that was Nintendo. Let's move on.
Square Enix.
Because it's almost midnight.
Fuck, is it? Bloody hell.
I think
Square Enix.
How many conferences have we got? Because that's all the main
Just
ones,
this
isn't it?
one.
Well,
Just
and the
this
PC one.
If you want to talk about the PC one.
Screw that one. Come on, let's do Squeenix.
Or we can crap through the PC one.
Yeah.
That won't take long. And in fairness, the Squeenix one probably won't take long.
No, probably
Because
not.
this wins my award of being shit show of the year.
Well,
They're the ones with all the games, I thought Zach said.
well, they are, yes.
Sort of.
But the first note that I had about this, which is why this was a terrible thing, was
Do you remember Konami shows from many a year ago?
vaguely.
Where they're bonkers? But it's basically a guy standing behind a giant auto cue.
Well, yeah.
It's that.
Well, the problem that they had was it was like the EA thing where they spent a long time talking about everything. But it was worse than the EA thing because what they do is they'd stand there and talk about everything for ages before actually showing any of it. But whilst they were talking, the camera would keep cross-fading to the still JPEG they had on the background behind them.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you... I mean, it's a choice between watching a dude standing there and talking and watching a still image. So, I mean, admittedly, that's not much choice. But why?
It was a very old school presentation with more talk than show,
Yes.
which was no good. It's no fun.
And also, they're Japanese, so they're talking Japanese quite a
A
lot.
little complicated by that, yeah.
The translator dude didn't necessarily do the best job. He sometimes got ahead of himself or missed things.
Well, he was alright, because Japanese is a very difficult language to
yes,
translate
obviously.
on the fly, but apart from the one time he was caught napping, and it just wasn't a translation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they did open with Just Cause.
Yep. I mean, good, I guess.
And they basically just said, well, we're back to Just Cause.
Yep.
This is the Just Cause
it
game.
looks mental, obviously, and awesome.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's going to be great.
Yeah, my note here says, clearly, they still don't care about realism, which is fine.
Well, they're going in the other direction,
When did they
but at least they're not going, like, I think they're doing it in a, I don't know, it's not Saints Row either, you know what I mean? It's got some, I mean, it's totally crazy, but it's not like, I don't know.
It's not cartoon.
It's not cartoon, yeah.
It's all about explosions and the physics and the wingsuits.
It's all about possibly DLC, though, annoyingly.
It's about the physical crazy rather than the forced jokes. That
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although it is a bit weird now that Carlos, what's his face? What's the guy's name?
Rico.
Rico Rodriguez is now in the Med for some reason.
Well, it's his homeland, apparently, even though even though it seemed like he was from like Middle America.
His name's Rico Rodriguez. That's not his homeland.
It might be his mother's homeland. That's also that maybe makes slightly more sense. Like it is technically his homeland, but maybe he emigrated like when he was young or something.
Possible.
I mean, at some point, wasn't he a CIA agent?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So, you know, what the fuck? But screw it. He rides a nuclear missile again. Maybe it's not nuclear. I don't know. It's a missile.
He just sort of stands on it. He doesn't really ride it. He just sort of
Spoilers for the end of Just Cause 2.
Yeah, he just sort of very, very casually sits on it.
If they're already showing that, that's kind of like... it's like that was technically their big thing at the end of Just Cause 2. It's like, no, we're showing this already. Fuck it. And an oil rig blows up. Also, spoilers for the end of Just Cause 2.
It looked pretty cool. And I haven't actually played any of the Just Cause games, so it's like I know nothing, but at the same time, I appreciate their brand of crazy.
Well, it looks nice now. That's the important thing.
Yeah,
it looks nice.
And they did give a shout out to the Just Cause 2 team for like making that multiplayer mod.
Well, you mean
not the Just Cause? Yeah, sorry, yeah, that team that made the Just Cause.
Didn't
2
they
mod,
like put that into the game officially or something?
Yeah, they did.
Well,
yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
It's still a
this mod is
separate.
awesome.
It's still like a separate launcher in Steam.
Well, yeah, but Square basically got behind it and said, "Yeah, you know what? This is freaking cool."
Yes, but they didn't get behind it enough to actually put it in Just Cause 3. They haven't actually said there's going to be multiplayer.
Not yet. Still time.
Maybe.
And that's got a December 1st release date.
So now you can grapple like 3 things at once or something together, and then pull them.
They didn't say what the limit was, actually.
Well, there is a limit of some number, and it's probably an upgrade that you get at some point.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was like attaching multiple tethers to a thing to like pull it over and stuff. So
yeah,
probably...
like he was because it also had like adjustable tension, so you could attach the grapples and then go
well, yeah,
and, like, pull it.
That's fine. Although when I was even just in Just Cause 2 where you only had one grapple, I always found that actually awkward to because it was a click and drag basically. You had to look at the first thing you wanted, the grapple, press the button to fire the grapple, and then hold it down while you moved your cursor onto the other target. And that's actually kind of awkward. So I kind of want that just to be a 2-button push.
Okay.
With some kind of toggle to make it so that it knows that it's a multi-target grapple rather than a single-target grapple or whatever. I don't know. It always was kind of awkward to me. Particularly if you wanted to target something small like a exploding gas canister flying the dude into space.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 10, 9, 8. Is that music liked doing?
Okay, yeah. And then the crazy gets ratcheted up a notch.
Sort of.
Well, not from the game.
No, not from the game. But it looked like it was going to get interesting because they were like, "Here's this new game we're working on with Platinum," and it's like, and then the credits start rolling of like who's actually working on this. You know, thinking, "What the bloody hell could this be?"
Yep.
It's got designers from Revengeance, a guy from Tekken, someone who worked on Bravely Second and FF4, and it's like, what on earth is this thing? Oh, it's Nier.
Yep, another Nier.
I vaguely remember that.
Yep.
Nier
wasn't that great.
I just know very little about it. I did look it up a little bit, and it's like, well, that first game looks a little bit like a Monster Hunter, Dark Souls, Shadow of the Colossus, and Horizon mix up.
Okay.
Monster Witcherzord.
Yeah. But the more important thing was that guy.
Tell me about that guy.
Do you not remember that guy?
I'm struggling.
The guy wearing the stupid head.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Moon guy.
Yep. Apparently, that's just his.
That's a character in Nier, isn't it? Yeah, like Emil.
Well, I mean, the character, but apparently the dude. That's just like he really hates public speaking, so he wears masks all the time.
Oh, really?
And it was just like that's his Nier-themed mask, I guess.
Okay.
So that's kind of weird, but I mean, okay. It was
Cool.
just kind of sudden and surprising, where it's like, okay, you're just wearing a mask for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, talking in Japanese and not really explaining anything. Good times.
Again, this seemed incredibly early in development because they basically only had
a CG thing.
Yeah. But for the length of time they talked about it was just like...
Well, the length of time they talk about all these things.
It was really, yeah. This was really dull, actually, in general. But then they showed the Rise of the Tomb Raider trailer that we had seen before.
Yeah, this is one that they didn't spend as much time on, which I guess made sense because they had already showed it.
Yeah, they didn't spend a great amount of time. They just showed the trailer that they showed at Microsoft again, to which the crowd didn't react at all, and then showed some somewhat tedious behind the scenes footage about why Lara is like how she is and the layers of crap that can end up on her.
That is true. They did. Although they didn't spend as long on it, they still spent too long on it.
Yeah, it's like here are the various layers of snow we can apply to Lara's clothes. And it's like, which is partially interesting, but it went on for way too long.
Yep.
Here's someone standing in a classic reference pose.
Yep, as you do. And then Lara Croft Go, like Hitman Go.
Yeah, made by the Hitman Go team.
It's just another isometric puzzle game, I guess.
Yeah, it actually looked alright. It could be kind of neat.
It's the classic problem.
Hitman Go is probably alright.
Yeah.
It's the classic problem of what they've done with Tomb Raider is, like, in everything that's not the actual Tomb Raider games, it's just old Lara Croft.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Why do you keep doing that?
Like,
standardize your design, come on.
Cyan shirt and hot pants.
Yeah. It's just weird. And then they briefly showed the 557 thing again. Didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
That was it.
Montage time.
Yep. And then, as with the Sony thing, the crowd got excited slightly too early again.
Or it's like, introducing Kingdom Hearts producer. Sorry, I can't remember his name.
Here comes the Kingdom Hearts thing. Oh, it's a phone game.
Yeah.
But then Kingdom Hearts 3 came after that, so that was what they were meant to get excited for.
Yeah.
They just psyched them out again.
An Unchained Key, which is apparently a story linked to Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, I'm sure every story is linked to Kingdom Hearts in their universe. It all links into itself.
So, they, after a somewhat pointless interview with people from Disney saying, hey, we're bringing Tangled to Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
That beloved Disney movie that very few people actually remember when questioned about it. And they then showed some gameplay trailers, and holy crap, what the bloody hell is going on? It's like, it's so bright. The sparkles everywhere.
This is what Kingdom Hearts is always like.
Ultra chaotic. I can't see what's going on.
Sure, it will make sense if you've actually played any of the Kingdom Hearts games. Like, if you know even how to play them slightly.
Maybe, but it's a quick fire way to a migraine.
Well, I'm sure, the whole point of those games is darkness, right? The darkness takes over the world and shit.
Even the world was quite bright, was the problem.
Well, that's like, maybe that was the first level where it was all nice and sunny.
Maybe.
And it gets darker. Who knows?
And then, with a lot of Japanese going on, they showed the World of Final Fantasy trailer again.
Yep, that didn't help it make any more sense.
No. But this time they said it was 2016.
Yep. And then Hitman again.
Again, the same things we saw before. Again, this is where they mentioned the bit about they're trying to go big on the multiple approaches to each level and player-created challenges. And then another franchise I don't know a great deal about.
Nope.
Star Ocean. I mean, I know it's been around for a while.
Yep.
There's been four of them before?
Well, that seems to be what the video implied.
Yeah.
Where they were like showing the game name and then the date in the timeline that it took place in.
They were trying to
out of order, which was kind of confusing initially.
Yeah, they were trying to chronologically explain what had gone on. But they did say that what they were about to show was incredibly early footage and not really representative of the game. Begs the question, why show it? I mean, just say you're making a new Star Ocean.
Apparently what the game is at the moment is
nothing
walk around in the town.
Yeah, nothing to do with space or stars. Like, my question just says, okay, this is another franchise I know very little about, but I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be stars in space.
An ocean of stars.
Yeah. Well, the Star Ocean is a thing in that universe. It's not like just their fancy name for space.
No.
The Star Ocean's a thing, but I don't know what.
So that's that. We don't know shit about that.
Nope.
And then something we do slightly know something about, I guess.
Deus Ex. But again, they didn't really actually say or show anything that we hadn't seen before.
And once again, as usual, they showed shooting, which, they have to. But
there's a gameplay trailer, though, walkthrough thing that may not have been in the conference or whatever, but it was like 25 minutes long.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't in the conference, but they have been showing stuff.
So I watched that shit.
Oh yeah? What do you think? Because I haven't seen it.
No, I think it looks good. I think so it opens in that sequence opens like in a train station thing where you come into like Prague or something, somewhere in Eastern Europe, I think. And it was quite interesting to see their kind of, their futuristic aesthetic applied to, Europe.
Traditionally old-looking city.
Like, honestly, it looked quite Half-Life 2-ish, which makes sense, I guess, if you think about City 17 or whatever. But in a kind of cool way, I thought it was almost a homage, actually, because Half-Life 2, you get a start in a train station, don't you? So, I think, but there's a lot of detail in stuff. I know you get that in modern games these days, but it looked pretty impressive. And
there was a specific detail they mentioned when it came up in the PC conference, like skipping ahead a bit, where they were basically saying, like, there's one thing that's very impressive about all of these shots, and that is the clutter.
Right, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
which is cool, and it all seemed like once it got to the combat stuff, it all seemed pretty, physicsy and destructive and stuff, and the environment seemed pretty destructible, which was kind of cool. Maybe in a superficial way, but it looked cool. But yeah, and I think it has. I thought sort of the broad strokes of the story was sort of quite good in Human Revolution, but I thought like the dialogue was like a bit like crappy. Like I don't know about the writing is just a bit weird, and sometimes it feels like they're writing. Half of the writers are like French Canadian or something.
Right?
Do you know what I mean? Or something. I don't know. Some of the
sort of poor translation at some point.
Well, no, I don't know. I'm sure they're writing in English, but like there's something about the writing in the new Deus Ex where it's like not that it was. I mean, I thought the writing was good in the old Deus Ex, and some of the voice acting was dodgy, but now you've got like slightly dodgy writing combined with slightly dodgy voice acting. But the general flavor of it is cool still, and I think that's good. And the actual gameplay stuff, like they showed a sequence, and you seemed like they were saying there was like a narrator saying, "Oh, by the way, you have like maximum." You're in like God mode or whatever. Oh no, what? And you have like infinite power, and you have all the power ups just for the sake of demonstration during this thing. So they showed all the new stuff as if you had everything basically, but you seem super powerful.
Chocolate bar all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was my thing. I'm not sure exactly how that stuff worked because some of that battery stuff was a bit weird in the last one. I didn't pay close enough attention to how it's been changed. But you had some crazy new
It looked like at one point in the PC demo that they showed briefly, because the combat demo they showed in the PC thing wasn't very impressive. But it looked like when he was using powers that there was the blue bar would go down, indicating how much your actual level is, but there'd also be a hard grey bar that would sort of go down in notches.
Right.
To probably indicate how far it would recharge.
Cool. Well, hopefully that will... They needed to mix it up a bit, so hopefully they have done. I don't know exactly. I probably have to see a bit more about how those two bars interact and to know if I'd like it better than the previous system, but I mean, it's probably an improvement. But yeah, I mean, you had a lot of because the thing is they were like, well, at one point they're like, we knew in the last one that our combat pillar wasn't as good as our stealth pillar or something. Obviously that's internally they talk about them as pillars of gameplay, I guess.
Right.
So they were saying they actively are trying to improve the combat one, and it did look better, but the thing is I'm not going to do that, so probably anyway, unless they like, then they're not going to force you to, because you can definitely play through the whole game without killing anyone. So it depends what you want to do, I suppose. And it's good that they've improved that, but it's never going to be like, I don't know. It's never going to be a full-on... I know maybe it could be just as good as a full-on shooter, but I think it's unlikely, given that there's other stuff to do. But as long as you can do that when you want to.
I think something that is just making a good shooter is always going to be better at being a shooter than something that is focused a bit more on stealth.
Generally,
like, I guess the risk here is that it falls somewhere in between on both camps. And
but the stealth was pretty good for first-person stealth in the last one, and it looks like it's improving again. Although the combat now, you've got that stupid shield thing, right, where you turn into a tank or whatever by having a black nano shield around you.
Yeah, you turn into a black polygon.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. But you've got the equivalent in stealth is the cloak, isn't it? Where that's like the ultimate in stealth tool, where you can just walk straight past people and they don't even notice.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about that is it looked like I'm trying to think what the game is like when you're. Oh, it might have been Crysis that it reminded me of, and the cloak seems to drain power when you're moving.
Right.
And that if you're still, it seems to be relatively low power. Like nothing didn't seem to be going down while you were still, but the moment you started moving across the environment, that it started costing you.
That's kind of cool. That makes sense.
I mean, that's the Crysis system. The cloak in that has always worked like that.
But yeah, you seem to have these crazy powered. Like the first thing they showed was like a thing in your hand or whatever, your augmented hand, where you could target like 4 people at once and shoot like flechettes into them that electrocuted them and knock them out. I saw that. And it's like you can knock out 4 people at once from a distance, not that far a distance, but it's like that seems like really powerful. Maybe that's fully upgraded, I guess.
That could be a late game power, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But that is like crazy if you think about Deus Ex, where you have to like get right up behind people to knock them out, and if there's another guy nearby, it's like really annoying. So
think about Deus Ex Human Revolution, where you just explode with ball bearings all the time.
Well, if you're playing that way, you can do that. I didn't even use that stupid thing.
I only used it for bosses.
For bosses,
it was like, fuck you, boss, explode.
Well, the thing is, they showed a quote-unquote boss, and they called it a boss, and it was just one of those social sort of games. I don't understand why they're making a big deal about it, because it didn't look that different from Human Revolution, and they were quite annoying. Although I think it's got better like animation and stuff, so you can tell more from the way people's faces and stuff, the way you're meant to be going with the questioning or whatever. But I don't know. I think as long as they improve on that, they did the hacking. They've got the hacking thing again, and it's like, well, it's like it was in the last time, but it looks cooler. I don't know. But it was kind of annoying. But I guess it's one of the better hacking minigames. If you're going to have a hacking minigame, at least they put some effort into it for the previous one. So
sure, there was a bit of a game to it, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. Yeah. It was better than freaking Bioshock or something. Well, didn't you literally play pipes in Bioshock?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, that's dumb. Anyway.
Or the weird match the code thing in Mass Effect. Like this weird this map of the code of some bit of code. Find something in this scrolling bit of mess that looks like that map.
I forgot about that. Yeah, and then you had some crazy new sort of stuff with your nano arms or whatever, where you could shoot daggers or whatever that explode and all kinds of stuff like that. Oh, and you had like a dash, like in Dishonored, like a teleport forward thing, which looked really useful. So you could teleport across gaps and like upwards and stuff.
That would be amazing.
Which looked really, really useful with that. Because especially combined with stealth, that would be kind of cool, right? So you can like dash between up and between cover and stuff without having to clamber ladders and things.
If the game has those sort of choices, like you can either have this or you can have this. Like, would you have the dash or the invisibility? Or...
Yeah, exactly. I like that in Human Revolution. I think it looks cool because the detail in environments and stuff looks really nice and stuff. But I still worry that damn. I was hoping the writing would be better again than the last one, and it doesn't look like it necessarily will be.
I haven't really had any sign of that. I suppose the trailers just sounded quite generic in terms of that, or they could have been like badly cut together, like between snippets of dialogue.
Well, I think it could be interesting because it's like it's getting closer to the augmentation is becoming a bit more nano. I think, although it's a bit weird because in the original Deus Ex, I think you were one of the first. You and your brother were like the first nano augmented, weren't you? Well, no, you weren't actually. I mean, you ostensibly you were, but like actually, MJ12 had a whole bunch of nano augmented dudes, I guess, didn't they? But but I think it looks like the augmentation tech is more advanced in this game and getting closer to, I guess, the original. I don't know, but that opens up some cool. Yeah, like some cool stuff. And story-wise, it's like, Mankind... Is it Mankind Divided is the name of it? Right.
Yeah.
That's it. That's their theme.
It was kind of weird that there's been suggestions that instead of XCOM 2 where the ending is the humans lost, apparently maybe in Deus Ex the ending is all of the endings. Somehow they've managed to make it so that the 3 or 4 button choice at the end, all of those are true.
Right.
Okay.
Not that any one of those made enough sense to be meaningful, I guess. It was like, here's some flowers in a field, what the fuck does that mean? Here's a voiceover. Apart from the one where you blow up the entire thing, that one seems like that's going to be quite hard to work out. Because you're in the middle of fucking the ocean, in like a weird, whatever the fuck that thing was. I don't even remember. Was it like power plant that used the heat transfer? I don't know.
I can't remember what it was for.
Don't remember. No.
What
it was just like a big hole in the ocean.
Burn the sea.
So yeah, that's that. That's Deus Ex.
I mean, they showed that, again, this is skipping ahead to the PC bit where we might as well talk it now. Like, they did show some neat sort of they did a sort of behind the scenes thing of how the visuals are built up for Deus Ex, and there's a lot of neat tech going on. So maybe a contender for wet pavement of the year.
I saw a little bit of wet, not quite pavement in Assassin's Creed just now that looked pretty good. In London. But also a contender for wet streets.
Wet street of the year.
Oh no. It's going to be a thing.
Damn right. Might well be.
So then they decided to go back to Final Fantasy for a second to talk about a mobile phone app, which is basically the codex.
Yep.
So, that's a thing. I guess, you kind of need that for Final Fantasy. In the same way you need it for Mass Effect, apart from in Final Fantasy's case, it's the codex for 15 fucking games.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then apparently some people called Tokyo RPG Factory are making a thing.
Yeah.
And that was completely no information whatsoever.
Called Project Setsuna.
Don't know the Tokyo RPG Factory and don't know what that thing they're making is.
No.
So,
and that was how they ended.
Well, how they really ended was Encore come onto stage and applaud and a really terrible music loop.
Yeah.
That was the worst music loop. So short.
Wasn't
It
great.
repeated a million times while
Yeah.
they stood there and applauded themselves.
For a very long time.
Yeah. And the dude with the mask was there as well.
It's an awful bloody show.
It was a bit.
Just it was the level of repetition of stuff we'd already seen, accompanied by the level of just talking and then the level of people just watching the auto cue that was to one side of them. Like, ugh, it's painful. like it's how, in a weird way, it's like how like a business presentation, how a lot of people would aspire to make a business presentation, but when you're dealing with
games.
When you put it next to Ubisoft and
their insanity.
and their insanity and Microsoft's slickness and even Sony's just ability to deliver a good conference, it's like you can't get away with pulling a Squeenix. You just can't. It doesn't fit.
So, is there anything you want to talk about in PC thing? Because I didn't bother with this one.
Well, it was a little strange. It was quite long-winded. It was highly interview-based. I quite like the host, who was the guy from those StarCraft videos, I think.
Oh, what,
Okay.
Day 9?
Whatever his real name is.
Sean Plot.
Yeah, that's it. It was him. Yeah, he's quite cool, actually.
Yes.
He was very good at this.
Well, he better be, because that's what he does all day, every day for the last fucking number of years.
In like an American talk show kind of way.
Yes.
He was pretty awesome at it. Has to be said. But my first note was, it looks like they are going for the weird low key chat show format.
Right.
With this. So they and just an example of how sort of all over the place this was. They started with Killing Floor 2.
It's a weird game.
Yeah, basically a horde mode, but they were the thing everyone was really excited about is like, check out our gore physics.
Yep, that's quite a lot of what that goes around.
These are insane. Like, we've built physics around all of our gore. Like, we've managed to combine hard body and soft body physics and fluid dynamics in a way that makes gore come out of people realistically, and when it's on the floor, it stays there realistically. And it's like, great, good for you. You've come up with some new ways of combining physics techs, and you've made something horrible.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That should be in Doom, though.
Yeah, probably.
Oh well.
And then Vietnam is apparently back because Rising Storm 2 is coming.
Battlefield Vietnam 2.
We kind of basically just looked like any Vietnam game trailer, really.
Yes, they all kind of are bound to look the same.
And then the dude from Star Citizen came on
To say, Jesus, what is all this money?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then just sort of said, "Well, look, we're making this thing, but somehow we've now got the budget of a AAA game to do stuff with. Thanks for all the support. I'm in London in a mocap studio right now. Bye."
Was he actually?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then some dude from AMD came in to talk some shit about hardware or something.
Yep,
Like
as you do.
Here are some numbers. Check out these Radians. Whatever.
Check out these radians.
Yeah. And then there was that Deus Ex Dawn Engine demo stuff I just mentioned. And I've got a nice wet pavement written here.
No, well, 2 votes.
And then there was a guy basically saying, "This is a very long-running franchise. This is something that has quite a good history within the industry, and it's something that and they're going in, and they're bringing something new, which we're all very very excited about. And some guy in the crowd just goes, "Half-Life 3!"
As you do.
But it wasn't.
It's
Funny enough, it wasn't.
It was the Total War Gaze. Sorry.
Total War Gaze.
Sorry. It was the Total War guys making a Warhammer game. Oh. So the next thing,
yeah, that's right.
Total War Warhammer.
Oh, yeah,
I thought they'd already announced that.
Yeah, they had.
They sort of had, yeah, but they basically covered it
because I remember the terrible name.
They basically had an interview. Yeah, that's what they said. Like Sean basically did just say, "So why didn't you call it Total Warhammer?" And the guy didn't really have a good answer for this. He was basically, well, because branding.
Yeah, because we have these two brands, and even though they share the first 3 letters and the last 3 letters, we can't fuck with that.
Apparently. Which seems dumb. Does have griffins, though.
Woo.
Yeah. And this is the point where I started making the connection. It's like, I quite like this host. He is that StarCraft guy, right?
Okay.
And then Phil Spencer turned up.
To do what?
Well, we were sort of alluded to this in part 1 of our E3 extravaganza of basically saying that Killer Instinct is going to come to the PC.
Oh, yeah.
And there's going to be cross-play with the X-Bone. That Fable Legends is coming to the PC as free-to-play and all that paper character style stuff with cross-platform play and planned years of updates.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Was what they said. Gigantic is going to have a PC version.
Mm-hmm.
So that weird MOBA thing. And also Coalition dude turned up as well to say that Gears Ultimate Edition is getting a PC version. When quizzed about Gears 4, he kind of very sheepishly said, nothing to announce.
Okay.
Which means that it probably might be, given that he didn't just say no. Well, Phil Spencer was sat right there.
So he should have said no.
Yeah. So this was like, probably, yeah. So this is basically Microsoft saying, look, we're trying to... Phil actually said, look, we're trying to make right on some of the bad decisions Microsoft have made regarding PC gaming over the last few years.
Right.
Presumably saying that he didn't, presumably referring to games for Windows Live and stuff.
Yep.
So that's potentially exciting, Microsoft... Or all I really want is for Forza to come on PC, so, get my wheel out. American Truck Simulator is a thing.
Okay.
Is that the same people as Euro Truck Simulator?
It is indeed.
All right, okay.
I've just got a mark here saying, lol.
It's exactly the same, I'm sure, with American Trucks.
Yeah.
And American Roads.
Yeah, apparently they've used Google Maps to map it all out.
Don't
Right.
know about that.
Yeah, because it's a dramatically scaled down version,
exactly.
in the Euro one, anyway. Then we got some Valkyrie talking, and they were going on about how it's a designed for VR from the ground up experience.
Yep.
Sean said this is the most intense thing he's done in ages.
Okay.
And he played it. But my one quote here is, "This looks really good, but that's some muzzle flash." When you're firing the guns from the Valkyrie, it just fills the screen with fire.
Okay.
Probably a bit much. And they also said that they intend on keeping Valkyrie completely separate from EVE Online.
Well, that's no surprise.
They're not doing the Dust 514 experiment or whatever that.
Yes, because that worked really well.
Yeah. So they're definitely keeping it a separate thing, so they can focus on the combat and nothing else.
But it wouldn't make any sense to actually tie it into EVE anyway. It's Dust barely made sense because it had the idea of these fixed bases because the making of the bases in EVE was a very simple thing, and it was it's all fixed, and there wasn't much you could do on a short timescale. So it made sense to have people fight in them and potentially destroy them. Not that that ever really came to pass.
No. It's a very ambitious idea, but it didn't quite pull it off.
But you couldn't do it with I need to launch my fighter drones. Oh shit, I need to wait for some people to connect to a server.
Yeah. Yeah. And then dude who's making Ion turned up again. It's basically the one bit of detail I got from it was that, okay, it seems to be played from a Diablo-style isometric camera angle. Still don't really know whether it's a sim or some kind of experience where you're the dude in the space station. I don't know. I started sort of skimming at this point because this had gone on for quite a while already. So it was quite a long show. There was a game called Strafe that turned up that basically looks like someone made Doom out of Minecraft.
As many people have tried to do.
Yeah.
There's way too many of those already.
In fairness to it, it did look like they actually got it mostly right. Like, it's the same pixel art style, pretty much as Minecraft, just without the blocks.
Right.
That sort of lo-fi thing. But then, like, it very much looks like it plays like Doom. And they're going for the aspect of, well, we're going a bit crazy with this, and pretty much anything can be picked up and used as a weapon. Like, we found a bug on the wall that you just picked up and you threw it at something and it exploded, of course.
Of course.
And that there are certain enemies that bleed acid, and if you then stand on the acid that they've bled everywhere, that will hurt you and things. And it looks alright, actually. It looks like they're succeeding with what they intended to make. Pillars of Eternity, the White March, or I misspelled something about my note here is incorrect. Pillars of Eternity expansion. Pillars of Eternity is apparently a good game, but the expansion obviously means nothing to us.
Yep.
So then, first sort of surprise, really, the guy from Frontier, the dude who created Elite, turns up and says, and you think, oh, maybe they're going to talk about Elite Dangerous stuff. But no, he says, well, we're actually working on something different.
Yep, they sure are.
And it turns out they're making Planet Coaster, which is a theme park game.
Which is weird, because Atari is still trying to make roller coaster tycoon games.
Are they?
Yeah.
Huh.
But, like, the Atari ones are clearly, like, shitty, like, bad continuations of roller coaster, like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, basically, where, like, it went wrong, and then Atari took that and continued. Whereas these guys, being more of the original guys, might have a hope of making a better game, potentially.
Is that true? That they're, like...
Supposedly.
But it's not, like...
No, it's not the dude. It's
Chris, what's his face?
Yeah.
Chris Sawyer, is it?
Yeah.
But supposedly these guys might have better ties to the original than Atari does.
Maybe, yeah. You'd think if... Well, yeah, I was going to say, if that were true, that maybe they'd get Bullfrog on. Find the remnants of Bullfrog.
What, Mucky Foot?
Yeah. Or Mucky Foot, yeah. Or just, the remnants of Maxis as it now is.
Well, they're still in the EA, though.
But Maxis got disbanded, though, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure the people are still in the EA.
Well, maybe. Then there's some Guild Wars 2 stuff.
Yeah, I made a note because the website had updated and I saw it on the actual page.
Okay.
That the expansion is officially more officially coming.
Yeah. They basically said it's open for pre-purchase.
Yeah. But it's £35.
It's another game's worth, yeah.
And I thought admittedly the previous expansions have been a whole game's worth of content, but I didn't think this one seemed like that was the way they were going.
It doesn't feel like it, no.
No.
I mean, they've added the amount of work they've done to Guild Halls seems...
Guild
Halls. Sorry.
Guild Halls.
I get tired. I'm screwing my words.
Yep.
Like the Guild Halls. But,
yeah.
It seems like they are putting a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, but the Guild Halls aren't important.
No, they're not
content.
They're not really, yeah. But there's a lot of sort of content to the Guild Halls, it seems.
But here's the bit that's a real fuck up.
Wingsuits?
No, that's fine. I mean, that's just their gameplay thing.
Yeah, they look cool.
The real fuck up is that the expansion costs £35 for the basic version, and maybe doesn't come with another character slot.
Oh.
Because
that would be bad.
The deluxe version, like the second tier, which is more expensive, says as a bullet point character slot. And I'm like, fuck.
Oh, that would be bad. Because that's pretty crucial, actually.
Well, there's a new character class, so obviously you want to make at least one new character.
Bad move. If that's true, dick move, Arenanet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they then talked about the fact that, if you do well as a guild and stuff like that, you can eventually start earning guild perks that can be brought into World versus World, like airship bombardments.
They already sort of had that because they had basically like the advanced versions of all the siege engines and stuff were guild perks, basically.
Yeah, so they're adding more to that by the looks of it. Then we saw some Hitman. Nothing to say here.
Literally.
Yeah.
He's in stealth.
AMD turn up to talk more about Radians and a new weird gaming PC thing that looked like a sandwich with the middle missing.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 2 layers and a literal gap with just a pole in the middle. And it's like they were saying, but it wasn't a massive thing. But it's like, this is our little game. This is our gaming rig that we've built that you can buy. And it's also got like they seem very proud of the fact that they had a graphics card that looked like it had 2 GPUs on it, like on a single card, rather than like double layer or anything. It's like this is a super thin dual GPU card.
Need some hella cooling.
Yeah, that's what I think that design was. I think that pipe that was holding it together was literally a heat pipe to the top half, which was just cooling.
It seems like you'd need more than one heat pipe at that point.
It was a pretty big heat pipe. Yeah, it's a weird looking thing. And the Armour 3 guys turned up and said we're adding a new area.
Okay.
Great. Beyond Eyes turned up to give more of an interview this time about like why she's making the game and stuff like that, and some of the challenges about how you represent perception.
Right.
And like how they went through the cool process of asking a ton of people to come into the studio, blindfold them, and then play them sounds and make them feel textures and have them describe what they were in order to get some sort of idea about how they should represent things in the game.
Right.
So they've done their research. Then Dirty Bomb turned up to show a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
One of their increasingly dumb trailers. Actually, this one was fairly calm compared to some of the ones they've shown. But there was one thing I took away from it, basically saying, I've seen Kippers play some of the beta and stuff like that. It looks fine. Not amazing, but fine. But some of the character design looks distinctly time-splittersy. Things about the faces and things about the lankiness of them, and it was like, oh, this is odd. Time splits. They showed Tacoma again. Nothing really new to add. There was a brief trailer for a game called Soma by the guys that made the first Amnesia game. That basically seemed like your standard "don't look at it, otherwise you'll die" horror game.
Yep.
DayZ had a bit, which I skipped over. Another sort of space survival game called Take on Mars.
That's been around for ages.
Has it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just been in early access or something, but I've seen it for months.
Okay. I hadn't heard of it before, but yeah, it turned out. And I was basically, my notes just say, it's not Space Engineers or that other one.
No.
What was the other one with the text-to-speech stuff?
Oh, you're thinking of Moonbase Alpha.
Yeah, it's not that.
NASA one.
Yeah,
I was thinking you were thinking of, what is that other one called? Walking Mars?
Might be. Oh, yeah, Waking Mars, yeah. That hasn't come out yet, has it?
I don't know. That's another one that seems like it's been out forever, but maybe it hasn't.
Yeah. And then Cliff Bleszinski turned up.
Okay.
Saying it was boring.
4 days ago.
Yeah, saying, well, no, because he's not working he doesn't work for Epic anymore.
He was just there to say it.
Pretty much. He was basically saying, like, we got the first question you got asked was, what's it like not being, how was your break, basically, from video games? And he basically said that it took him a few months before he realised he was bored not working on games.
Okay.
And so started up Boss Key, and which is his new studio. And they're working on something called Project Blue Streak, again, which I think we already knew.
Yeah.
And they showed a very brief sort of demo of a flyby thing of an unsurprisingly Unreal 4 powered looking competitive FPS game.
Great.
He's making Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
That's not Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
And then came possibly the thing that caught my eye the most out of this whole thing was a game called Enter the Gungeon.
Right, I've seen it on Steam.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. It's like a well, they describe it as a bullet hell dungeon crawler.
Yeah.
Like, so take Binding of Isaac and make it more bullet hell and cool. I'm in. It looks good. It looks great. Not a great deal more to say about that, really. It's exactly what it says on the tin. Although one of the weapons that they showed at the end looked like a rainbow whip. That apparently, when you use it, the music changes tone to be all happy.
Okay.
Just like, okay, fine. That sounds cool. Blizzard then did a quick stint doing and like the second phase of not Heart of the Swarm, Heroes of the Storm.
Yep, the other one that's got the same acronym, fuckman.
Cock. Like, but I wasn't entirely sure what they meant by what is this Eternal Conflict update? What is this? What is the Nexus they're referring to?
It's like, here? What was the first version?
Yeah, I didn't quite know what they were going on about. They didn't make it very clear. And then they talked about StarCraft 2, like, because the final expansion is coming out.
Not Hearts as well.
Legacy of the Void.
Yes.
And at this point, I made a note saying Blizzard really needs a new cocking naming convention because the of the stuff is getting really old. Everything is something of the something.
Yep, pretty much.
Everything. And then they pretty much ended with No Man's Sky. Like, again, nothing new to add.
Continuing to talk about it somehow.
I mean, it wasn't a terrible show. As I say, I liked the host guy.
Yeah.
I kind of like what they were going for. They just needed to have more content that wasn't anywhere else. Like, more of the indies should have come forward and done this.
Yeah.
And there should have been a bit more game and a little less talk. But not terrible. Just a different direction that perhaps need refining. But not bad at a first attempt at a show. And the only other bit of outside event news that I have here is that Elite Dangerous is getting an Xbone release, which we might have already knew.
Yeah, I think we did.
Already know.
Does that suit a console? I guess it'd be right.
Well, people say it plays fine on controller. So
Well, you can play it in VR on console, probably.
Maybe. Well, like fake VR. You pretend you have a giant TV screen VR.
Well, yes, but you might be able to do it in actual VR as well.
Maybe.
Because it is one of the games that works. The sitting in your chair simulator.
Yeah. HoloLens.
No, not
HoloLens.
Actually, that might be cool with HoloLens. Because you remember, like, I guess the reference that I make that no one else would get would be Eve, but probably some other games where they have their, like, the 3D, like, mini-map in a space game where it's like a sphere and it shows you the points of the other ships in your vicinity. That'd be a cool thing to have HoloLens onto your table.
Yeah. That's true, that'd be cool.
That'd be pretty awesome.
That would be extremely cool.
A nice big radar.
Yeah.
Yeah. HoloLens.
Because that's actually a hologram as well.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, not through HoloLens, but it is
in the concept.
The concept of the game, yes, a hologram of some kind.
HoloLens. So how did we do prediction wise, and like what's top of your hit list out of all this? What got you hype?
Well, I guess at this point, because most of the shit still comes out in 2016, it's Fallout 4.
Because it is actually this year.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, no, most of this isn't necessarily applicable to this year. Like, there's still a lot of unknowns. Some of the new stuff that they announced didn't get a date or anything like that, so who knows when that will turn up.
Yeah.
So I guess things haven't necessarily changed for me. I haven't seen anything that blew me away. Like, so I guess I'm still hopeful that Star Fox is awesome.
Yep.
And
it is Platinum Games. You never know. Bayonetta's pretty good. Is that right?
Star Fox isn't making Platinum isn't making Star Fox, are they?
I think they are.
I believe they are.
Or helping with it anyway.
Oh, okay.
They're in all kinds of games at the moment, like 3 different, completely weird, completely different games. They're all helping with at the same time.
Platinum are quite big though.
Yeah,
like they have multiple teams and stuff like that. Like, it's not just it's not just the Platinum.
No.
So there's that, and I'm also I remain optimistic about Halo 5, even if perhaps I think the concept of squad basedness and the lack of split screen has dampened it slightly. But I remain hopeful. You know, as a Halo head, I have to be. Someone has to be, right?
it's just like Sonic.
Yeah.
Never give up.
It's a little bit more justifiable than Sonic, perhaps.
There's a new Sonic and Mario the Olympic Games, isn't there?
Is there?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I suppose that'll come out next year, right?
Yep.
Okay. Wouldn't mind getting my hands. I'm surprisingly not like I had to actually remind myself. Oh yeah, Garden Warfare 2 is a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So, as much as I think I'm going to enjoy that game, again, it wasn't a blow me away with stuff.
No.
It's just going to be more of the same.
Yeah.
Which I'm not against, by the way. It just doesn't quite have that same impact that the first one does, because that's a very hard thing to do. That's about it, really. I mean, it's cool to see Sony bringing back all those things.
Seg, what do you want to play most out of that shit?
Just Fallout 4.
Fallout 4.
Like I said, that's it, I guess.
Okay. Fair enough.
Not so fussed about Fire Emblem. I mean, that's next year. But...
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I think that one might have been sufficient, and then that new one doesn't seem like it's going to be different. It seems like it's going to be the same.
I quite like looking at that Ghost Recon game, I must say.
Ghost Recon could be interesting. I mean, when did it say that? They didn't say when that was out.
No.
Yeah. So
they've got to finish the Division and the other one.
Poor
Siege.
So yeah, all in all, I think it's been a pretty good E3. Like, just further cementing the fact that 2015 is a relatively busy year for games.
But not as busy as 2016, apparently.
That's what happens every E3, though, isn't it? Like, E3 always talks about a year ahead.
Yeah.
Not with Fallout. Woo!
Yeah, Fallout was probably the best. Fallout was probably the best handled reveal, because they're all like, yeah, here's our game, here's everything you can do in it, and by the way, it's pretty much nearly done.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it soon. It's like, that's how you handle a reveal. That's what everyone wants to hear. Not like, oh, we might be making this thing that may come to you in a few years' time.
Yes.
Square.
Yeah, it's true. Right, I think that's our E3 show.
It is indeed.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure we'll update you on many of these games in the coming weeks and months. Or years.
Pointing to remind me to go and get up and press the stop button.
And you decided to point it out instead of just doing it.
I know, but it was just like, you don't normally remind me physically.
Well, I thought it would probably be a good idea since this outro is going on forever as it stands anyway. Get off your ass.
Thanks for joining us, listeners. And normal service at the Saladcast will be resumed shortly, in a couple of weeks. Join us then. But for now, goodbye.
Drink Glastonbury in the meantime.
Indeed.
Oh.